reset yourself, please? Okay, thank you very much. My gosh. Okay, get started. Hi, Justin, I see you. Um, I just needed to. I messed with some stuff yesterday and I fucked it up a little bit. I didn't mean to, but try to fix it a little bit. Okay. It's better, I think. Move this down a little. Probably have to move it to the side if I get somebody on here. Okay. Let's put music on. We'll get started. Morning. You're right, Omni. I didn't put it in the live chat. You're right. I'm not speaking. I'm just playing music to start the day. Tap the screen so we can get our day started, please. If you're on YouTube, hit that thumbs up. I know, AZ Wild Bill. I'm sorry. YouTube does not let me play copyrighted music, so. Soul Stealer, this. Oh, look, Justin put it for you. It's T-Pain's cover of War Pigs. Tap, tap, tap. Woo! You can just walk away because they're fucking just threshing on that guitar. Olive has an incoming for me? Okay. Joy. Joy for me. All right. Good morning, good afternoon to those of you on the East Coast. I appreciate you guys being here. I'm sorry, YouTube and Twitch, that you do not get to hear the sound, but that was T-Pain's cover of War Pigs, brought to you by Justin. Thank you so much, Justin, for that $2. I think that is something we're going to start doing. If we get Olive's goal accomplished, we can start doing a bidding with my 100 goal to decide which song we're going to play. Again, rules and stipulations apply, but of which song we start the day with. So that's a great song to start our Friday with. We love that. Thank you, Justin. Fucking amazing. All right, guys, if you're over here on TikTok, let's start doing all of those good things, please. Let's tap that screen. Let's get to 50,000 likes before the top of the hour. I would appreciate it. I know you guys can do better. You guys hit did we hit 200,000? We almost hit 200,000. Oh, I got taken down. I know what happened. Never mind. So let's try to get to 100,000 likes before we end the stream today completely. Okay, I would appreciate that. If you could share the live out for me, I would appreciate it. So you can add it to your story, repost it, share it to 5 of your friends. That does help me. If you have not done your daily heart me, please do so. It should be that little golden heart up there because duh, it shouldn't say follow because you already follow me, obviously. Thank you,
Oh
Peter.
my God, I have crabs.
Thank you, Peter, for giving me crabs. And so you should hit that daily heart me. It does give you access to stickers in the chat. A lot of them are fun ones of my face. I did just replace the key lime pie line one, so you guys should have that new one available to you. And guys, we knocked out the roses and now I've got the ice cream goal. Let's start working on that. It does help push us onto the algorithm over here on TikTok. And I'm going to try really, 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 really hard to not get taken down today. That would be Great. We love that. Okay. If you're watching over on YouTube, if you could hit that thumbs up button for me, if you have not already, it does help push us onto the algorithm. Yes, I go into this wanting to have conversations with Trump supporters and conservatives. If we don't get that, that's fine. We do an entire outline for the show, but let's please thumbs up it so that we can push ourselves out there. Okay. I would appreciate it. And over there on Twitch, hi guys, I see you. Dragon's Celt using one of our wonderful emotes. If you subscribe to me, you get access to those over there. You can send bits, things like that. Oh, and on YouTube, obviously, you can send super chats in case the chat's going by too fast and I can't see it. Does help me be able to read it. You want to send me a hate message? Send it that way. You can do so that way. All right. I usually have my 100 goal, but we already got a hell of a start knocking that down. Thank you so much to Trademark, Yaya, and Justin for that. We are down to 48, so 48 left in my goal for the day, and we have an entire show to do. So if we could work on that, that would be great. $1 Train, $2 Train, we are crowdfunded here. This is my job. This is what I do for a living. Holy crap. Hector, what is that? I love F1, by the way, Hector, so that's fucking amazing. W's to Hector for that gift. Thank you so much, friend. I appreciate it. I feel for you. You looked so tired last night, but I'm very proud of you for not crashing out. You did so well. I'm so proud of you for that. So tip your content creator and check out those links in my bio, and let's get that goal accomplished. And we can get our show going today. Work way.
I sent someone your way, so I'm hoping that they call.
Okay. Was it the person you guys were talking to when I left?
Yes, same person.
Okay.
I don't think I have enough patience without needing to get frustrated because you know how I am about non-harm reduction voters and who don't care
I mean,
about.
I can totally understand not vote. Like, Clinton was a terrible fucking candidate.
I wasn't even trying to defend Clinton though. But
yeah. Thank you for calling the stream. Can I get your age, state, and who you voted for?
Yes, I'm 62, Massachusetts, and my name is Smedley.
Your name is Smedley?
Yes,
Okay, good for you. Who'd you vote for?
Trump.
Okay, why are you still supporting Trump?
Well, there's a couple of reasons. International trade would be one, the tariffs. He's bringing back some protections to capitalism here in the United States, which has been seriously lacking for the last, say, 40 years.
What is a tariff?
It's what they charge for imported goods on manufacturers outside the United States.
Right, so like when the companies import goods from other countries here, right?
Correct.
And how has that benefited us? What has come back in way of manufacturing jobs to this country?
Well, that's the thing. They're not going to come back. They're never coming back.
Sure, we've changed from a manufacturing economy to a consumer and service economy. I would agree with you there. So why are you supportive of what he's doing?
Well, actually, I'm not completely supporting Donald Trump. It's just these half measures are better than nothing that's been done for the last 30 years. I've seen the deindustrialization of the country over the past 40 years. There was, in 1968, there was an international trade protectionism laws that protected American workers in manufacturing here in the States. Mm-hmm. And under Lyndon B. Johnson, that was lifted.
Oh,
and then subsequently, we saw the rise of the Rust Belt during the 70s and the automotive industry being leached out of the country.
Sure.
So, you know, history lesson over, but the reality is we need to get out of the World Trade Organization. Part of the reason why we pay what we pay at the gas pump for our gas in our cars is because that gas, that oil that comes out of the ground here is instantly priced to world market versus what the Department of the Interior is supposed to do, and that's to protect us. There's a barrel cap. The last I knew, it was like 26 or 27 bucks a barrel for every barrel that comes out of the ground in the United States or in regions that are controlled by the United States under contracts and leases to these oil corporations. And so what they did was, I believe it was 97 or 98, that they entered us into the World Trade Organization, which basically effectively took our sovereignty a way as a nation to control our own minerals and resources.
Well, we don't. Could be a part of it, but we now don't even use, mostly. We do some, but we don't. At a majority, use the oil that we actually produce. We import a lot of the oil that we use, and we export our own oil out. What is Donald Trump doing to fix any of that?
He ain't. Neither is
Sure.
anybody else
Sure.
that's getting into office. It doesn't matter if they're a Democrat or Republican, right?
No, yeah, I totally agree. In way of like, I wouldn't say every single politician on each side is the same, but I would say, yeah, they all are under that capitalist thumb of allowing oligarchs in the oil industry to run things. So you want to nationalize our oil?
No, nationalization it would be a disaster. And that's been proven over and over again. Anytime anything's gone nationalistic, it usually goes into the dumpster.
Right. I would agree with you on that. So then what, well, in way of when governments try to do it. So what would you want to see after we remove ourselves from the World Trade Organization? What would we do? Because we are, like, the world is a global market now.
Yeah. And that whole global market idea is, it only serves the interest of, we'll say, the international trade organizations, the WEF, and what is there? There's a couple more. But what it really boils down to
would
is,
you call them elites by chance?
all right, that's a touchy thing because.
Do you know who the
yes and
Bilderberg
no.
Group is by chance?
Yes, I do.
Do you think that there is a giant cabal that is in charge of all of the things that make money in the world?
I wouldn't say it's a cabal, like there's a bunch of guys sitting around a table, but they all go in the same circles. They're all in the same social settings.
Do they happen to mostly be Jewish?
Well, I'm not saying that either because the world's
not?
made up of. What's that?
Are you not? There's a huge thing of conspiracy theory in regards to the reason it was a red flag that raised for me when you talked about the World Economic Forum, and then knowing who the Bilderberg Group is in and of itself. It's very on the edge of anti-Semitic conspiracy.
What, me just knowing about the Bilderberg Group?
Yeah, actually, most people don't know that.
Well, I am 62 and I've been around for a while, so
sure,
I don't know.
Yeah, most of the people that I know who know about the Bilderberg Group have some anti-Semitic tendencies. That's why I'm asking.
I think the Jewish people are fine.
Okay.
I have a problem with the way that the Jewish state conducts itself.
The Israeli government, you mean?
Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think just recently they were now under suspicion of espionage here in the United States. Now, this is national news, legacy news. This ain't like conspiratorial news, secondhand stuff.
Well,
right?
But then there's a bill in Congress to like forge our militaries together. I don't know what the fuck we're doing, but that's something that's going on. So that's fun.
I think that's all under the auspice of this globalist agenda, right?
That right there, that's anti-Semitic conspiracy, though. This idea, because although you might be talking about the Israeli government, that terminology is used to talk about Jewish people.
Yeah, but I'm not anti-Semitic. I
just want you to be careful of the rhetoric you use. Globalism, World Economic Forum, all of those things are used as dog whistles against the Jewish community.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the wider global agenda here. Like there's the Asians, like the Chinese, or the Indians, right? Or the Russians, like the South Americans, like everybody plays a role in this, man. It's just the Jews.
We are Jewish people. It is a global market. What I'm not understanding is how, like, I don't want to make your claim for you. I'd rather you make your claim. But
okay,
it sounds like you would prefer isolationism, and I just don't see how that would be feasible.
No, I'm not claiming isolation.
Okay.
That wouldn't work as well. Like look, economics 101, right?
Sure.
The manufacturing might of any nation determines its prosperity, period. And what they've done in America is they basically took that away.
Sure, but I
And
don't think that that's the only thing though. We now have transitioned to a service economy and what we can provide. I think that's done
it's
pretty well
completely
for us.
failing.
How?
It's completely failing.
How?
Look at the state of the country.
What about it?
Every major city, every ex-mill town, every manufacturing center. Look at Detroit. Like this hollowed out factory after factory. It looks like a third world country in many
Because
locations.
we have transitioned. And actually what we have tried to do is transition that to a different kind of manufacturing. Instead of doing steel and things like that, that we are getting our ass kicked on by China, by Mexico, by Canada, we can do things like switch to EV vehicles. That's why you have a 100% tariff on EV vehicles from China, because we don't want the BYD to come in here and destroy our EV market. That's why you had things like the Chips and Science Act, putting a tariff on chips that we were buying from Taiwan so that we can build the manufacturing of being able to make those same kinds of chips here in the United States. There are things that we have done in different sectors. We're just moving to, let's say, like solar. We're moving to green energy. Like those are the things we are moving to instead of this old world that we've lost. I agree with you. It's gone. Like we sold it away. We gave it away. That's gone.
Yeah.
We're not getting it back, but we have to transition it.
The technology for solar panels originated here in the United States.
Sure.
The technology for the chips that are manufactured in Taiwan are all from the United States.
Sure.
Right? Like this wasn't like just by accident. This is no knee-jerk reaction to an economic status that they just happened to fall into. This is coordinated. And now that might sound conspiratorial,
Yeah,
but
for
it's
whose
not.
benefit?
Well, that's the thing. Who is actually benefiting from this? Because it ain't the rest of the world, and neither it is the United States. I was around
rich
in the
people.
90s.
That's an issue with capitalism, though. That's just an issue with capitalism.
It's crony capitalism,
Correct.
and
Right.
Right. But the reality is this was started back in the 90s when the term globalism was kicked off in the zeitgeist with. I remember reading a Newsweek article. It was right on the cover of the Newsweek magazine, and it was about globalism, leveling the playing field. That's the exact cover, right? And what they didn't tell us was, it's leveling the playing field, not so much. What it is lowering the standard of living in the Western world that was basically ahead of the rest of the world. And when that come to some equilibrium, then the United States would supposedly see an inrush of manufacturing, the jobs would come back, and it would never happen because
Sure.
there's a surplus of labor in Asia, right? You have
Right.
500
Companies want to
million
make,
people.
companies have better margins that way, right? They get cheaper goods from places like China and Vietnam, and then they charge us more. They make more money. It costs more to have Americans do that labor.
Exactly, because
Right.
the cost of living here is totally different than the cost of living there.
Sure.
And that's what those international trade protectionism laws back in 68 were
Mhm.
designed to protect us against
Sure.
from hostile takeover. Like during the 80s, the term hostile takeover really, again, entered the, common vernacular. And on top of that, they even made a movie out of it with Danny DeVito called Other People's Money, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to me, it was a slap in the face as an American that they were just making this so commonplace. It was ridiculous,
Yeah, I mean, I would
but-
just say, what did you? You're saying Trump isn't doing the things to stop that, but then you said you
No.
support his trade policy.
I support some of the trade policies. I also, because you got to remember, up until this point, there has not been anybody doing anything really actively to protect American interests. And the interest isn't the corporate interest that I'm talking about. I'm talking about the people's interest. Like the representation that we're getting in this country is non-existent.
I would say
Even
it's
on a
not. I would
local
say it's
level.
not enough, but there are progressive candidates that are pro-union, right? Pro-creating unions so that the people who do the labor can decide themselves what they need. You have a lot of now Democratic socialists coming up that would like to have workers own their labor so that it's not owned by these corporations and conglomerates. I think we are seeing that in progressive policy. We're not seeing it in conservative policy. Those tend to be union busters. They get lobbied by these big corporations, so they're all about getting as much money as they can at the cheapest rates for them.
Yeah. Well, and when you have, all right, so let's roll this back a little bit, right? Let's look at this constructively, because number one, I've heard progressive this and factory owned, worker factory owned and this and that and the other thing. None of that stuff works, man. None of it does. And
how do we know
let
that?
me put, because we've been trying it, and it's been tried in other countries as well, like in Brazil and Colombia, with big manufacturers like John Deere. When they went down to, I think it was Brazil, pretty sure it was, Brazil tried to unionize their factory down there, and what did John Deere do? They pulled out, and they left them hanging.
Right. That's
So
a
what they
problem with
didn't-
capitalism, again, and the corporations. That doesn't have to do with the progressive policy
Mm-hmm.
of being pro-worker.
All right. So explain to me the flip side of capitalism. So what do you propose, right, can replace it? Because
Oh, no,
socialism
I
doesn't
won't.
work,
No, I
and-
wouldn't say
and
that.
neither does
So
communism.
I wouldn't say that. I like the ideas of council communism, but I wouldn't propose that as a replacement because I don't think it works unless it works on a global scale, and I don't think that we're going to see that. I'm very pragmatic in that way. What I would say is that the system that we have is capitalism, but as you put it, crony capitalism, I think it needs to be regulated. We have to regulate it. The problem
absolutely.
is we have this constant back and forth between the two-party system that puts us in a shitty position where we try to regulate it or we do regulate it, it gets repealed.
Oh, okay. So here's what I propose, and this is my personal observation, okay? Now, I was a businessman of 25 years. I ran a company here in Massachusetts. I worked for the state of Massachusetts at one point in the child care industry.
Sure.
So, like, I do have kind of varied view on the world from both the corporate side and on state level, and also the private side and private S Corp, right?
Mhm.
And let me say this. So I've been to town meetings. I've, kind of had to sit there and deal with like local building inspectors and health inspectors and, whatever, right? And that the small time stuff. And then even on the state level, I did some work for the government and things of that nature, and I kind of saw the bureaucracy of that, right? And then kind of like from a distant lens, I've been looking at D.C., right, and how the federal government works, right? Because everything from the top, it all rolls downhill, right? And we're all affected by this. I used to have conversations with people and say, they go, why do you think it's important that you go to that state meeting in Boston for the insurance commissioner, right? And it's because the cost of my auto insurance for all my vehicles or my homeowner's insurance, right? All of these people at the top are making these decisions for us.
Mhm.
And we all can play an active role in this, but I think
if
that
you don't
for
show
the
up,
most
they're going to
part-
do whatever they want anyway because you didn't make your voice known. Yeah.
Right, because there's a void, right? So, power just fills that void, man,
Sure.
no matter what.
I mean, we've seen
So
it with
back
we've seen it with data centers. We've actually had a couple towns in Arizona and New Mexico actually get rid of data centers that were previously approved. Why? Because they all showed up. If you show up, you can make a difference.
Right.
Yeah.
So here's what I propose for the correction.
Okay.
Number one, you have to get rid of the lobbyists that act for foreign interests. Lobbyists aren't a bad thing, but what's happened to it, and it's been so bastardized that you, no matter what you do, okay, as a group of people, you have to be able to either equal the power or supersede the power that you're going against. And it doesn't matter if it's in your town hall, your state house, or in D.C., because that's how power rolls in this country.
Sure.
And in order to get people on board to take back the country, we need to have a common consensus with the general population. And that we don't have. We don't have a common vision for the people as a people. Do you see what I'm saying? And
I
until
think
we bring that,
like the way you and I are talking, I think we would agree. I think we would have that common consensus. I think the problem is when people hear the buzzwords, the labels, things that people add onto it, that it's like, no, I can't agree with it. It is some sort of like bipartisanship that happens in our brains. But I think when we talk about things at a base level, how it's affecting, like we do now, I think you can have that common consensus. You just have to leave the labels out of it.
well, we'd have to have the national media in on it.
Sure.
So because the national media basically plays a major role in creating different, we'll say, narratives
Sure.
throughout the country,
Yeah,
whether it be on
100%.
the East Coast, West Coast,
Mhm.
North or South, right? And that division, that slight division, is enough to keep people separated. And that's what we're having. We have a division that's so deeply rooted, and it's continued just for clicks or for views or for advertising space.
Sure.
Like,
No, of course.
Do you see where I'm going with this? Like it until we get the corporations under control, I don't see anything really altering course. A good example is, like you mentioned, data centers, right?
Sure.
Nobody's asking for these things. In fact, they're putting them in places in the country where water is a rarity.
Very
of,
scarce,
like,
yeah.
It's very scarce, right? So, and this is a complete 180 of save the planet and the greening of the planet and zero emissions and all these insane policies that they could never fulfill, even if they spent every waking moment trying to, right? And
No, I
so-
think that you absolutely can. I don't think that data centers are part of the green energy idea. I think these are just oligarchs who want to make money. What I will say is I think we agree for the most part. I just don't understand why you would vote for Trump, because he's obviously not going to be doing any of those things. He loves corporations. He loves lobbying. He loves putting money in his pocket. But I do hope you call again.
yeah.
Unfortunately, capitalism, unfortunately, is the name of the game because we have to live in it. So capitalism did get you today, but I hope you call back another day so we can have a conversation. And I hope you have a wonderful weekend.
Sure, you too.
W's to Mia for the 15 says, nah, he needs therapy, not your mental labor. Back to the outline. I think we agree for the most part. That's the crazy part. I think him and I agree. I just don't know why you would vote for Trump for that. Unless, I mean, he's saying that there are a lot of establishment Democrats too that like are totally entrenched in the lobbying, totally entrenched in being paid by these huge corporate conglomerates, and I would agree with that. That's why we were trying to get those kind of people out. So, yeah. I did that math right? Did I do that math right? I did it in my head. Yes. Need my
For
supermarket
anyone
simulator.
asking, no, this is not the person who I asked to call in.
No, I know it wasn't. No, I know it wasn't. I don't mind that
Someone's like,
conversation.
Roland
It's fine.
said for him to call in. Does she not love Monica?
Oh my god. She hates me. All right,
No,
let's
no.
get oh, you fucker. I hate these damn paywall removers. It should not. There's another capitalism that I hate. We should not have to go through paywall removers to read the news. Oh, you're not going to let me do it, are you? I have to find a different one. Fine. Reuters has gotten really bad.
I tend to zoom all the way out, copy and put it on a Word document and read it that way.
It's fine. I'll read The Hill. Okay.
And if I could, oh, wrong hill, sorry.
Judge indefinitely blocks Trump anti-weaponization fund. Go away. A federal judge in Virginia agreed to indefinitely block the Justice Department's anti-weaponization fund after previously agreeing to temporarily block any payments. The decision from U.S. District Judge Leonie Brinkema came during a Friday hearing on whether to bar any payments from the $1.776 billion fund for the duration of the case. Democracy Forward, a legal nonprofit representing the plaintiffs, confirmed Burkima's ruling from the bench. Quote, "This ruling is a significant victory for the Constitution, the rule of law, and people in America," said Sky Perryman, the group's president and CEO, in a statement. The court recognized the serious legal concerns raised by the Trump-Vance administration. Thank you, Joseph. Trump-Vance administration to create a secretive taxpayer-funded compensation program operating outside the constitutional safeguards that govern public spending. Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche told lawmakers the Department of Justice was not moving forward with the fund, but declined to request do that in writing. Does this one say it? Because that's a D.C.-based federal judge on Thursday declined to grant a temporary restraining order in another case brought by Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington, though he also warned the Trump administration not to play possum in court. So this one doesn't say it, but the U.S. District Judge Leonie Burkima also, the reason why we are calling it an indefinite block is because what they said is they are giving the administration, they're giving the DOJ 1 week. They have 1 week to put a stop to the fund in writing. That's why it's indefinitely blocked now. Because the judge is saying, you will be in contempt of court and in violation of the law if you do not give to me in 1 week a piece of paper by the Department of Justice that says that this fund is moot, is done. So that's why it is now indefinitely blocked. So that's the breaking news I had for the day. Damn it, wait, I need that one because I'm replacing that one. Because Reuters is rude to me and I don't like them anymore. Damn it! Stop doing that to me. My mouse clicks are not cooperating with me. That one and replace that one. I'm sorry, guys. Off my game today. All right. What do I want to get to now? I'm not doing that. Okay, let's do some economy stuff, and then we'll probably get into immigration. But let's get to some economy stuff. So guys, while we're sitting here, keep tapping that screen. You guys are doing wonderful. Almost to 100,000 likes at the top of the hour. You guys are doing fantastic. I appreciate it so much. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that thumbs up, guys. You can see 3 left in my goal. And I also have the little finger hearts on TikTok. We can get those accomplished as well. And you beautiful people on Twitch, I see you enjoying the angel space that I call Twitch. So let's go on to some economy stuff. Really, the fact that we played where Donald Trump in the Oval Office was told about the inflation rate year over year going up to 4.2%, which, as we know, is for the most part because of the war in Iran and the energy prices going up. However, we did see prices kind of going up before the start of the war with Iran. He hasn't really done anything, as although gas prices were down underneath him, it wasn't because of anything he necessarily effectuated. So there is that argument. But Donald Trump said when he was told about the 4.2 year over year inflation, he was the one who said, "I love it," which is an interesting statement to say. So, of course, Mike Johnson, because, you know, Mike Johnson is who Mike Johnson is going to try to add context or say it was taken out of context because that's who he is. He has to glaze the taint, right? And I don't know what is, I think it's doing it again. I don't know what is wrong with Manu Raju's mic. They need to get a new microphone. It's only coming out of my left ear. So if you have a right ear pod in and you can't hear it, it's because it's coming out of the left ear.
Mr. Speaker, the president said today, "I love the inflation amid these high economic..."
No, okay, it's coming out of both, but it's like mostly in this, his audio is weird every single time. Sorry.
High economic...
I knew somebody was going to ask me that. It was totally out of context. You know what he was talking about.
That's
Play the
a
whole
message
clip.
of voters.
It was totally out of context. You know what he was talking about. What was he talking about? If I know what he was talking about, what was he talking about? He said, "I love inflation," even though he's told us before he defeated it. Which one is it?
Want to hear right now.
No, the president is laser focused on the domestic economic situation. He is working to bring down prices. He is working to get the Strait of Hormuz reopened.
How is he working to bring down prices domestically? What has he done to do that? What has he done in way of policy? What have they proposed legislatively? What has the majority Republican-controlled Congress done to do that?
We have passed legislation. He's used executive orders to get...
Like what? What legislation have you passed to bring down prices? What executive orders have brought down prices? Because executive orders don't mean shit to the private sector. We've talked about this. One of the biggest ones that I talk about is Donald Trump signed an executive order that said that credit card companies cannot say that your interest is higher than 10%. They have to cap interest rates at 10%. Did everybody's interest rate on their credit card go down or not? Not, because he doesn't effectuate the private sector. Who does is the legislature. Why haven't they passed a bill to cap interest rates at 10%? Pirates of the Strait of Hormuz.
Get the cost of living down.
What about the economic
hold on.
today?
Everybody got their highest tax refunds they've had in their whole lives. They're getting
Which they then paid for in tariffs. Thanks, Trump.
greater paychecks. There's all sorts of great economic.
No, actually, inflation is outpacing wages. It was already outpacing wages when we went from about wage growth at 3.4% and inflation growth was 3.8%. But now it's even higher than that. We are at 0.8% difference because of 4.2% inflation, 3.4% wages. So love that for us.
Indicators, but there's still challenges. Gas prices among them. So what he was saying is it's going to be great to have that number and compare it to what comes next when we get these situations resolved. That'll be a fun thing to consider and to compare. That's what he was talking
Oh, yeah, that's totally what he said. That's not. I love that you add these eloquent words to this man that he didn't say that, but sure.
about. That was the context. I was standing right
Are
behind
you
him.
worried about these economic numbers, though?
Cool. Okay. So that was Mike Johnson's excuse. Let's go to Scott Jennings. I don't know why CNN keeps bringing Scott Jennings on, but you know, it's fine. Let's talk about that.
Ballroom, and I need a slush fund for January 6th.
Scott, on that note,
Oh, somewhere, by the way,
do you
somewhere.
agree though with Trump this morning saying he loves inflation?
No, it was very inartful. I mean, I understand what he was. I think he was saying.
Please, what was he
I
saying?
think he
You think
feels
it's good for the country or good for the
encouraging
people
that
who are
the
struggling?
numbers are better today than they were under Biden, but it was
That's
an inartful statement.
absolutely
But they're-
not true.
They're,
The
they're as bad as today as they were since 2023.
yeah.
Are you,
That was what they came out as, right? When it came out that inflation year over year is at 4.2%, that is the highest we've seen since 2023. Now, the thing that Scott Jennings does that you guys all do when you do this,
What about Biden?
is that you go for 2022 and 2023. The problem is that Joe Biden didn't leave office until January 20th of 2025. So in the year, if you don't want to count January, which is fine, I have no problem with that, you can count December, December, where it was 2.9% under Joe Biden. And again, you have to show me direct correlation between Biden and the high prices, or the high inflation, that we had in 2022 and 2023. Show me direct correlation between Biden policy and that happening. Whereas with Trump right now, 4.2% inflation we know is directly because of the war he started with Iran. That is the difference. Gas prices were lower. Again, not because of anything he did, but they were lower. And then he started a war with Iran, and now here we are.
you're arguing that
So this what about Biden stuff is just falling flat now.
inflation
Well, and
today
it's-
or during
Sorry, go ahead.
It's extremely lazy. Completely off topic. When that played, I guess my headset wasn't plugged in all the way, so it was like crunchy, and I'm like, "What the hell just happened?"
Just scary Eli sounds coming out.
Scary
of the-
Eli.
inflation today or during Trump's term is as bad as it was during Biden's term?
I'm saying
Surely you're
that
not
Trump-
arguing that.
No, I'm
Surely
saying that-
nobody would argue that.
No, I'm saying that Trump said he was going to come into office and lower inflation, and it's higher today than it was when he took office.
Well, the rate of inflation today is certainly lower than the rate of inflation during Biden's term.
But not when Trump took office.
The
And
rate
he's
of
actually
inflation today
contributed to-
is lower than the rate of inflation.
It's the highest pace
Democrats-
it's been since 2020.
Democrats took. I'm not arguing the numbers. I saw the report, and
You are, though. You're literally arguing the numbers because you just keep repeating what you have been told to repeat because you are a little puppet, is that it is still lower than Joe Biden, except it's not. Because when Joe Biden left, it was 2.9%. If you're going to include January, it was 3.0%. No. And again, not because of anything Joe Biden did. This is because of what Trump did. The pretzeling, the taint glazing. Yeah, no, he can't. He's like glitching in real time.
by the way, it is a political issue. I mean, if inflation continues to trend up, if gas prices don't come down, you can't deny that.
Yeah.
But
Do you think he'll apologize?
He can't deny it now. As you guys are trying, he can't deny it now. Like, I just don't understand. Like, you guys need to come back to Earth One, please. Please come back.
Just the American people for tanking the economy and making them
tanking-
broke?
We've had three.
He's a puppet. Scott Jennings, yeah. Scott Jennings is absolutely a paid puppet. Absolutely, yeah.
straight months of massive job growth. We have
And why
manufacturing.
are
No, and we lost 1.1 million jobs last year. So the minuscule job growth that we've had.
people
Reachers
losing?
And by the way, I don't know that this is going to sound conspiratorial. I don't know that I believe the job growth, because if we have so much job growth, how come the unemployment rate has been 4.3% for the last 3 months?
It's been so stagnant and plateaued that it's really funny to me when people are like, but we have great job. For someone who has been actively still applying to jobs as I sit here, I haven't even been bitten by anyone who's
Well,
saying
and
that they have.
Yeah, and it's not even true, because we know that if you look what the economists are saying about the market right now, the jobs market, it is a slow hiring, slow firing market. It is stagnant. We are not moving. Why? Because these corporations don't know what Trump is doing. So they don't know whether they need to hire or fire. Yeah, it's industry specific. Overall growth is stagnant. Thank you, Newshound. Exactly.
all
their
over.
health care? Why are gas prices over $6 a
What do you
gallon?
mean
Why
losing
are
their
grocery?
Scott Jennings.
Somewhere,
Aaron
Karen,
Finner.
Eric Swalwell and Al Franken are exchanging WTFs on text messages. The way Democrats like you are handling Plattner right now, I can't believe you threw those guys
That's
out.
different. We'll get to that in a
Unbelievable.
second.
All right, we'll leave it there.
Or maybe. We'll get to that today. Maybe. Again, handle the shit in your party before you come after anybody else's. And there's no, the accusations, unless you've looked at the accusations and listened to his interviews about them, then I don't want to hear it. But I'm sure that this is going to help, right? This is Donald Trump talking about our trade agreements and our trade agreements with Canada and Mexico, particularly our highest trade partners. I'm sure this will help the economy.
Mr. President, July 1st is coming fast. How confident are you that you'll be able to renew the USMCA, and what more do you expect from Canada?
So they're asking, it's hard to hear, but they're asking if you are planning on renewing the USMCA, which, by the way, is the trade deal that he came up with after he got us out of NAFTA, and then decided to rip up and destroy with tariffs and shitting on our friends.
Well, I'm not looking to renew it. I don't, I made the deal, and the primary reason I made the deal is that NAFTA was the worst trade deal I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And I made it better, but I had the right to terminate. And, with NAFTA, we didn't have the right to terminate. I had to get the...
Okay, but it's not about that. You see how he does this, where he's trying to get like a clap or a clap on the back or an accolade for his right to terminate NAFTA or his right to create the USMCA? That's not what's being asked. You just answered and said you don't want to renew it. So what does that do with our trade policies with our biggest trading partners? What does that do? Answer that question. Stop trying to glaze your own taint as everybody else glazes it, but answer the question. Nobody needs to give you a hand clap for creating the USMCA. Are you going to renew it? You just said no.
senators to approve that deal. That was a tough thing, Congressman, too. NAFTA had no termination. So, I've never said this before, but I'll tell you what my thinking was. NAFTA was a disaster for our country.
Okay, stop campaigning. NAFTA isn't being used anymore. He asked you about the what's the word? I just lost the fucking thing. I just said it 3 times. USMCA? The USMCA. He just asked you about that, about whether you're going to renew it, and you said no. Why are we talking about NAFTA?
The worst trade deal ever made, by far. They had typos in, okay? And they were supposed to correct them. And they never corrected them when they were signed. They knew there were typos. And there's a process for that. You state your claim and, you get a change. They had typos on percentages.
/ why would I calm down? He was asked a very simple question about what his plan is for the trade deals with, I don't know what typos, okay, he can't read, so, about renewing our trade deals with our biggest trading partners. He says, I won't renew it. Why is he going on to this spiel about NAFTA? We're not using NAFTA. Why is he doing this? He's campaigning as if he's campaigning on 2020 again, as if he's campaigning in 2024 again. Why is this happening?
Or maybe somebody wrote, and that was for years. They never ran, they had horrible, all against us. So it probably wasn't typos. NAFTA was the worst trade deal we ever
Oh, so no, it wasn't typos. Okay.
had. USMCA did one thing that I loved. After 6 years, it comes up for renewal.
Like most trade deals. Okay, shocker.
I don't know that I'm going to renew it because To be honest with you, the United States does much better. Hey, we don't need anything that Canada has. We don't need anything that Mexico has. But
Well, that's interesting. That's worked out real well, hasn't it? That's worked out real well for him in our country, saying we don't need things. W. Ace Ventura for the $2 super chat. He said, did you see the interview he ran away from? Yes, that would be the Meet the Press interview with Kristen Welker. We played it here. All she did was ask him the question that apparently the press has not been asking him, which is evidence. And I'm going to be careful with my words. I'm not getting taken down today. Not today! W's to the TikTok chat for hitting 100,000 likes. W's to you guys. Thank you so much. And you did it 9 minutes before the top of the hour. Thank you so much. That means that we can hit 200,000 likes before I end today, and I know we can. So let's keep tapping that screen. I know you guys can do it. If you're over there on YouTube, hit that thumbs up button for me. I would appreciate it. And just like you saw Ace Ventura do, you can send super chats. You can send jewels. You can send donations over there on YouTube. It does not count towards my goal that I have on the screen because I only get that once a month, and it's usually the following month than the one we're in. But it's always appreciated. It does help me out. If you're over there on Twitch, guys, you know that I love you so much. You guys can subscribe. You guys can use those emotes. You can send bits, things like that. And we have 33 left in the goal. This is my job. This is what I do for a living. It's how I pay my bills. So if you would like to help with that, tip your content creator for the things that we do. Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, all in the link tree in my bio. I would appreciate it if you helped out with that. But W's, TikTok tappers, you guys are doing amazing. And again, like I always say, your partners will thank you. You guys are America's #1 trading partner. Like, how are we don't need anything they have. How did that work out for us with tariffs that he tacoed on? How did that work?
they need everything that we have.
Oh.
And they have to treat us better. You know, with Mexico and Canada, we have trade deficits. We should have surplus.
All right. Let's talk about this, because he keeps talking. He campaigned on this. He keeps talking about this as if it's a bad thing. What is a trade deficit? What does that mean? MAGA, conservatives, what's a trade deficit? Because as far as I know, I have a trade deficit with the grocery store. Except not really, because I get goods, right? So what that means is that we pay for goods that they give us. We just pay for more goods. What a trade deficit is if you take Mexico and the United States, okay? We are buying goods from Mexico. Mexico is taking goods, buying goods from us, right? Why do I always get restricted? But we as the U.S., the U.S. is my finger, the U.S. is buying more goods, importing more goods from Mexico than Mexico is buying from the U.S. That is what a trade deficit is. A trade surplus would be if they were buying more from us than we are importing from them. Why is that a bad thing? Why is a trade deficit with a country whose goods that we need, why is that a bad thing? Why is that a bad thing? I'm still waiting for the negative. You guys hear the word deficit and you're like, bad, bad, bad. Why is it bad that we import more goods than they buy from us? Why is that bad? We have countries that we have trade surpluses with, which actually those countries he also tariffed on Liberation Day. So it doesn't seem to matter whether we have a surplus or a deficit. But where's the negative? No? Okay.
With them. We don't need their cars. We don't need their lumber. We don't need their energy.
Oh, that didn't work out too well, did it? In 2019 and 2020, when we had tariffs on their lumber and their steel? Yeah, we have a trade deficit with the grocery store. Should we stop buying food? Yeah, I guess so. I guess so, Blue.
Energy. We don't need anything that they have. So the primary thing that I got, it was a much better deal than NAFTA. Much, much better. It was sort
cool.
of a good
Are you going to
deal.
renew it? You said no.
It was
Why
a
is this a
great deal for
2-minute
one
rant?
reason. It gave the right to terminate. And who would have thought that I was, you know, they just didn't want to have it during the 4-year period when I was president. So now it made it so that I wouldn't be president. And because they rigged the election.
I'm going to skip past that because that's what got me taken down yesterday. Wasn't anything I said but him. So let me see if he's done talking about that. Nope, that's what he rambled into. Are you going to renew the deal that you created, the USMCA? And he rambled on to festival stuff. So, sounds about right for him. So then this is Harry Enton polling on the economy and on inflation, specifically after Donald Trump said, I love the inflation. I love the inflation. So I did want to try something out in regards, because I don't know if there's a way to do this. I wonder. I'm going to try something real quick. So TikTok, let me know. YouTube and Twitch, let me know. I'm going to play this. I will replay it, I promise. I just want to test something real quick, which I know is a completely inopportune time to do so. But I'm going to mute my audio on TikTok. I want to see if you guys can hear this video on TikTok still and YouTube and Twitch still when I play it, because I want to try something.
Yeah, I would just say, if I'm an American, based upon the polling I'm seeing, I hear the president go, what the heck did I just hear? What the heck is going on? One of the most politically tone-deaf statements
can you hear that,
I've ever heard, and you can see it in the numbers right here.
So YouTube and Twitch, did you hear it, though? Yes, you guys heard it. Okay, cool. The reason why you hear kids, that's probably my children running around in the background. Cool, thank you. The reason why I want to do that, because I still want to talk about festival stuff. I still want to be able to play videos of the president lying about festival stuff, but TikTok doesn't like it. So if I have to during those moments, I will play those moments on mute on TikTok, but be able to play them for YouTube and Twitch. Okay, thank you guys for my little test. I appreciate you guys. You guys are the best community sitting with my ADHD rambling. All right, we'll actually play it for you now.
Yeah, I would just say, if I'm an American, based upon the polling I'm seeing, I hear the president go, what the heck did I just hear? What the heck is going on? One of the most politically tone-deaf statements I've ever heard, and you can see it in the numbers right here. Americans don't like the inflation. They hate the inflation. They don't love the inflation. They hate the inflation. Inflation net approval, minus 50 points or worse. 50 points underwater or worse. Total polls per president. Trump in 2026, already at least eight polls in which his net approval rating on inflation or the cost of living is negative 50 points or worse. Every other president in every other year, the answer is 0. Trump is not only the first one to reach negative 50 points or worse net approval rating on inflation, he's done it many of times. So when I hear Trump's statement, I feel like Mrs. White and Clue going, what is happening here?
A big aspect, and one of the first things that people track in terms of the cost of living is the cost of gas prices. Yeah. How are people feeling about Trump and gas prices?
Yeah, okay, so you see this historic number right here. You know, Trump being the first one ever to get minus 50. He's done it multiple times. No other president's done it. How about an 80% disapproval on gas prices, which of course is fueling this frustration with inflation? Take a look here. The only president with an 80% disapproval rating on gas prices of all time is Trump. In 2026, you can see Trump there. He's pointing the arrow to it. Yes, he has done it. This Iran war has done it. It is fueled.
Sue said, blah, 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 all problems, no and-wers. Yeah, Sue. Yeah, the only president is the only one. The answers are for Donald Trump to be removed from office, to end this ridiculous war in Iran, for the Republicans to actually find their ball sacks and hold them up in their hands and actually do the things that their constituents elected them to do, which is not to serve the president, but to serve their constituents and actually force something to be done. There is no legislation to stop this. There's no legislation to put a cap on the amount of profit that these gas companies are making while we are in an unwarranted war in Iran, to actually do something. We have and-wers, Sue. We do. We do have and-wers. They're just not doing them.
Record frustration on inflation and record frustration.
Because I'm not even screaming. Trust me, I have screamed, and you'll know because my brother's microphone specifically, it's a great mic. It has like noise canceling filters on it, and so when I yell, you'll know because the microphone cuts out. Actually, it's done it to me before. I have videos where it's done it to me, so you'll know when I'm yelling because the microphone cuts out.
When it comes to gas prices, the only president ever with at least an 80% disapproval rating on gas prices, Donald John Trump. in this year, 2026.
And you, from yesterday, we've been told that his statement of "I love inflation" just ricocheted and ripped through Capitol Hill. And you can hear from Republican lawmakers the very real concern about what this increase in prices means to their constituents. But of course, that's also tied into the midterm election.
You wonder what CNN will talk about after 2028? The same things that they've been talking about, politics. They'll continue to talk about politics.
This frustration trickling down.
Yeah. President Trump may love the inflation. The American people hate the inflation. And I think the Republicans on Capitol Hill absolutely hated Donald Trump's statement. Why? Because it is absolutely funneling down. Okay, Democrats are the party more trusted on inflation. For the first time since the 1970s, it is true now today. We are actually seeing polling in which the Democrats are the party that is more trusted on inflation. I was looking back at all the polls I can find. The last time it really happened in an average of polls was in 1978. Of course, before that.
Harry Enten, you did not need to say it like that. 1978. Harry Enten, when I find you,
inflation boom took Jimmy Carter out. And if history is prologue in this situation, well, it's going to take out the Republican majority in the House as well. So no wonder that Republicans heard that statement and just like me are like, Mrs. White, what did I just hear? Well, you just heard a president who wants to sink his party's midterm fortunes. That's what you just heard.
All right.
So, and that's getting run in ads everywhere already, by the way. Trump's little sound bite of "I love the inflation." That's already going well for him. David, you said something interesting. So you said no Iran, Iraq, as well in Africa, even though the no war, we are deployed and these politicians lie. They all lie on both ends. That's why I'm in healthcare now and try to stay away from politics besides how people respond to a genuine question. The issue with that, David, is that you're in healthcare, which is great. That's awesome. It's a great field to be in. However, that is affected by politics. Everything in our country is affected by politics. The way that our legislatures put forth bills or strip bills or repeal things will affect healthcare. So that's like, you didn't remove yourself from politics. You just decided to not look into what politics are affecting you. But you're still in politics. That's still happening. All right. So then we got our year over year. That is our CPI, our core inflation, core product inflation. Now we get our PPI, and it's our wholesale inflation. So here is CNN talking about the wholesale inflation that we get. You may not be into politics, but politics is into you. Mia, you need to put that on a shirt, please.
Some new key data on inflation out this morning showing wholesale inflation continues to rise rapidly in the United States. It currently sits at 6.5%, which is the highest it's been since November of 2022. And this comes.
So remember that year that you guys all lived and died in, and it's 2022. Apparently the wholesale inflation is now up to its highest levels since 2022. So I guess we're back there.
Inflation out this morning showing wholesale inflation continues to rise rapidly in the United States. It currently sits at 6.5%, which is the highest it's been since November of 2022. And this comes just 24 hours after a brutal CPI number showed inflation hit a 4-year high. I want to get right to CNN senior reporter Matt Egan with the numbers. So what do these numbers show? And then can you just point out the differences between the numbers from yesterday, CPI, versus now?
Yeah, absolutely. Omar, these numbers show that prices are rising rapidly in this economy. They're rising faster than before the war started, faster than before the president took office. And as you mentioned, this is the second day in a row with a hot inflation report. And this one suggests that the worst is not over in terms of the price hikes on consumers. So this is wholesale inflation, producer prices up by 1.1% between April and May. Some context, that's almost twice as hot as anticipated.
Some new.
That's not good. So I just wanted to have that reporting on that. All right. Now, I have a couple things that I want to show. I put it in my economy section. If we don't get to the second one, that's fine. We can get to that another day. But we're going to get to this one first. That was a week ago. I need the one today. Are you going to let me? Okay. Because the video I'm going to show you is talking about anticipatory, but it's already happened. It's official today. we talked about it a little bit last week. SpaceX soars 23% in Wall Street debut and makes Elon Musk the first trillionaire. So it is official. Shares of SpaceX soared 23% in their Wall Street debut on Friday, making the rocket maker CEO Elon Musk the first ever trillionaire. The shares opened at $150 and kept rising, reaching $166.9 around 12:20 p.m. Eastern. That price gave the company a market value of $2.18 trillion. Forbes is now estimating Musk's net worth at $1.1 trillion. Institutional and retail investors jumped at the opportunity to buy 555.6 million shares of SpaceX at the offering price of $135 apiece. The $75 billion in proceeds easily topped the previous record IPO from oil giant Saudi Aramco in 2019. So the video I'm going to play is going to talk about the fact that it will make him the first trillionaire when he now is. Okay, he now is. I don't know what the advertisement is with the goat. I think Mia is infiltrating my For You page with her goat simulator. Oh my God, I have to sneeze. All right. PCA, thank you for the $4.99 super chat. You said, genuine question. How do you suggest lowering gas prices without hurting the gas industry? Well, I think we need to start investing in renewables anyway, but I'm not saying that means we'll get rid of gas. Lowering the gas price without hurting the gas industry. I think you can put caps on them, to be honest. Like, I think you can put price gouging restrictions on them at market value. You can still make it where they are able to make money, able to pay their overhead, but you also can give them incentives, right? Where if they are charging this certain amount or they're getting tax cuts for a certain thing, that they can then invest that into their company and their workers. I think there's a multitude of ways to do that, but I don't see any problem with doing price gouging bills, but also putting the restrictions that they then can't trickle that down or lay off employees or anything in that way. There are ways to do that without them destroying the gas industry. They are making money hand over fist right now. I think they will be okay. I think we're all right. So this is, I don't play them a lot, but I do play them a couple times. This is More Perfect Union. More Perfect Union, if you're not following them, are fantastic at their news reporting. They really, really, truly are. I'm going to turn it down because the video was like extra loud when I had it on earlier today listening to it. Talking about this SpaceX IPO. I should have told that to the Biden administration. What about price gouging bills? They had price gouging bills on the floor. The Republicans shot them down. Did you know that? Okay, cool. So this is More Perfect Union and the SpaceX IPO. Yeah, and also he's the first trillionaire welfare queen because what we do know is that he uses stocks and shares to buy these things. He does not actually use his own money. So it's just a constant funneling of other people's money. You said, what the fuck, put caps on it? I changed the word, not caps. I wouldn't say caps. I would say price gouging, right? So to make it so that they have to do a fair market value so that they make their margins, but that they are not increasing the price to a degree that is above where it should be because of things like inflation, right? Like we saw with Kroger when the Kroger merger was trying to go, Kroger-Albertsons merger was trying to go through, and the Kroger CEO admitted that they had raised the price, like, here's the inflationary price where they should be charging, and here's where they were. So they were charging above where the inflationary rate was. I think that we can make it so that they can't do that.
I'm a guy that's into space. I hope we go to Mars and all that.
Jeff, that's not necessarily true. Now, gas prices, for a majority of the gas prices are high because of this war with Iran, Jeff. But there is price gouging going on. You know how we know that? When Donald Trump announced in an interview that China was sending tankers to Texas to come pick up oil from Texas, do you know what happened to the oil market? To the crude oil price? It shot up. It's not China hadn't come and taken oil yet. It was just the projection, the future market that China was going to be purchasing oil from Texas and purchasing oil from us. And so what that did is the oil companies anticipated making money. And so they wanted China to pay as high of a price as possible. So the gas price went up. So it's not, that is price gouging.
Stuff. To see that get turned into a way to transfer wealth from ordinary people who are just trying to save for retirement to people like Elon Musk is just depressing.
SpaceX is going public this month. It could be the biggest IPO in history.
It could also make Elon Musk the world's first
trillionaire.
Millions of
And like I said, this was behind It Did. Official this morning.
Americans like you and me are about to become SpaceX shareholders. We won't buy a single share.
The reason why I described it as a bag holder situation is because it feels like it's getting engineered to be one.
Bag holders, IPO, valuations. Sounds complicated. It's supposed to. But you don't need a finance degree to understand. You need 10 minutes. The whole scheme hinges on something you've probably heard of. Index funds. A good chunk of American retirement savings are tied to them. You pick a fund, it picks an index, which picks the stocks. You don't think about it. That's the point. Index funds are supposed to be safe. Passive. The rules are the rules. Except, if you look closely, the rules seem like they're being rewritten to...
Jeff, stop it. Stop bootlicking for billionaires, trillionaires. Stop. Stop. You told Soul Stealer to stop being jealous of Elon Musk. Nobody is jealous of Elon Musk. It is unethical to be a billionaire. It is damn sure unethical to be a trillionaire. The people that work for him barely scrape by. He does not invest in healthcare and benefits and wage, a living wage for those people. Stop glazing him.
Do we want a fun fact? Since Jeff, I had my partner used to work at SpaceX. He did not make the amount of money you think they make. He worked as a manager for stocking. He worked in the stock room. He worked upwards of 45 hours a week, and he barely made enough to survive in California.
Elon Musk could solve world hunger.
Sure could.
But right, I get it. You said you are glazing him. You are. By telling Soul Stealer that they're jealous of him is glazing him. No, people are not, like, unless you're PCA, which PCA, I guess good for you for being honest, says that they are jealous. We're not jealous of him. We want him to have to pay into a system that he is raking money out of. The people at the top are raking in money and hoarding it, and the rest of us have to fucking struggle to decide whether we can even buy. That was a report that I saw today, which I will probably get to next week with my Brooke Rollins section, which is that people are not even buying beef anymore because it is so fucking expensive. They're not looking at nutritional charts about what is healthy for them and their family anymore because they are just looking to be able to purchase things they can afford to eat. People are not jealous of Elon Musk. They want Elon Musk to pay into the system he's raking. That's all. You agree he should, then don't tell people they're jealous of him.
Make people like Elon Musk
Yeah, I'm jealous my parents didn't own an emerald mine with fucking slave labor. Yeah, totally.
fabulously wealthy at everyone else's expense.
Every piece of
Hi, Dawn. I hope you've been doing well, friend.
evidence we have is that the IPO is being engineered to rise very rapidly after a price.
Ron, it is. It's unethical to be a billionaire and a trillionaire because you have to exploit other people to do it. You have to put your boot on their necks in order to have that kind of money. It is unethical. David, no, I would agree with you. It's not liquid, right? Like, it's not liquidity. It's not paper money. But that's even worse to me. That's an even worse corruption to me, is that he's able, and yes, that is the system. That's why I want to change the system. I agree with you. The system is the way the system is. What slave labor in his daddy's emerald mines? You should look into that. You should also look into Elon Musk's lawsuit about having marginalized communities specifically be hidden off of the floor of his warehouses where they are there only to sweep and mop. They were not allowed to be seen on the floor. In very specifically marginalized communities. You should probably look into that. But what I am saying is that the system needs to change. The fact that he can take his stocks from Tesla and purchase Twitter, and he can take those stocks all together and purchase SpaceX, like he shouldn't be allowed to do that now without having to pay for it.
Prices.
And yes, Xandrick, yes, this even, which I hope I pronounced your name right, this even includes Taylor Swift.
And then fall very dramatically after that. That is a recipe for retail investors especially to take large losses.
Here's how the scheme works and what you can do about it.
So are there really 3 hours of questions? Or has it? Are you fucking serious?
Yeah. I have to be careful about saying things about companies that might go public.
That's never been a problem for you, Elon.
You can't hype companies that might go public.
$1.75 trillion. That's the value Elon Musk has floated for SpaceX when it goes public this month. More than Walmart. Is it worth that?
SpaceX is a real company.
let's see, let's go back to the valuation. Market value 2.18 trillion because it's made up. It's all made up. So even the valuation he had it at, it was higher than that.
It shoots satellites up in the sky. It provides things like Starlink. It's very impressive engineering.
Our Baron, you said, but she pays her employees good. What about her private jet? How's that doing for the environment? What about her use of her privilege? Oh, she doesn't use it? Oh, she writes dog whistle lyrics. She can't both be a lyrical genius that leaves you guys Easter eggs to find at midnight and also not mean what she says. It's just...
company.
That's Robin Wigglesworth, editor at the Financial Times.
There is definitely real business to be done there and real asset value there.
Thank you, David. I appreciate it.
The question is whether it is as large as Musk claims it is.
George Perkins advises investors where to put their money. Last year, SpaceX made about $19 billion, most of it from Starlink and government contracts.
There's the welfare we're talking about. Which even then, of that 19 million you're making from Starlink, or SpaceX, excuse me, made about 19 million, sorry, let me go forward, from Starlink and government contracts. Starlink also gets government contracts. So there's the welfare we're talking about. Like David said, it's not liquid, it's not paper money. He's using the system. I would like to change that system. I'm tired of demonizing poor people for using systems they pay taxes into, and yet Elon Musk, and I'm not saying that's your take, David, I'm just saying, you know, we as a society demonize poor people for utilizing systems to supplement their lives in taxes that they pay. But for some reason, when Elon Musk gets government contract after government contract that he then uses to purchase new things to make more money, that's fine. Like I don't understand. W's to Oh Me Oh My for the 33, completing out the goal. W's to you. And then also you sent me another 5 W's to you, Oh Me Oh My. So total of $38. You said her dad was the VP for Merrill Lynch and literally showed her how to be a millionaire. Oh, Swift? Her dad was the vice president for Merrill Lynch? Wow. I mean, I do know they moved her so that because she was like, I want to be a country star. And they were like, okay, we'll move our entire life so that our baby girl can be a country star.
So. W's in the chat to Hector for the 10 on the Blue app and said, okay, I paid less for luggage. I have a little something.
I can't with it.
I cannot. But guys, since goals have been completed, you could still touch goals. You know, Monty and I do this as a living. You could pay us both at the same time. I know Monty has better stuff and is more informed and more entertaining than I can be in the morning.
Government contracts are not welfare?
What?
Whose money is that? Whose money
Do they know who pays for those contracts?
Jeff, we've talked about this so many times. You said, what about all the people that pay into the system that can't get government assistance because they make too much money, # middle class problems. And I've told you about that. That has to do a lot of the times, most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time, with conservative policies of increasing the poverty rate, and that in each states and especially red states, but the poverty level on a federal level being where it is so that you just make just above it. They put these restrictions on you, Jeff. We've talked about that over and over.
Who made that comment in your chat just a few seconds ago about the welfare stuff?
PCA said that.
Okay, PCA, don't leave. And no one mute PCA. I'm going to argue for a second.
There's no reason to be muted. We don't mute unless there are slurs. So.
No, I meant like, don't slur. I'm asking him not to slur.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
From Starlink and government contracts. But a company's market value is partially a bet on what that company will earn in the future.
This is what we talk about in the way of the stock market. When I sit there and I say the stock market isn't real, it's not that it's not real, right? It exists, obviously. What I mean is that the stock market is a projection market. It is based off of betting. It's a giant casino, to be honest. Like, it is this idea. That is why we have been so up and down, right? When we have strikes from Iran, or we strike Iran, the oil prices go up and the stock markets slump down. And as every weekend we have seen, Donald Trump comes out and says, we're close to a deal. The stock stock markets rally back up and the gas prices go back down. Why? Because they are projecting, betting, anticipating that this is actually going to happen and that the stock market's going to go up once this war is over. It is a bet. That's all it is.
That bet is called a revenue multiple. Facebook.
Oh no, David, I know. The government contracts that like Boeing, because it's not just Elon Musk. This is specifically about Elon Musk, but this is supposed to be representing a larger whole, which is corporations and the amount of government money that they get. And they need oversight, but the problem is not only are we giving them government contracts, but conservative policy is to deregulate them as well, to not even oversee the shit that they do. Boeing had fucking doors flying off of planes, so we pay for them. We also get services from them. What are you getting from a SpaceX IPO?
That was the next question I was just about to ask. We really maybe you could argue a lot of the contracts that we get do benefit military personnel at the time being and maybe for the future. But even then, we spend the most money on contractors. Contractors receive the most taxpayer dollars. So when we're having these discussions and Elon Musk sits on these contracts, not even to mention to go in the world of immigration, he withholds people's work visas.
But like, but PCA, you said we also pay for sidewalks, we get the benefit of sidewalks. Yes. What are we getting from SpaceX? We have completely sold and turned over our entire space program to Elon Musk. How is that helping us?
Public at roughly 10 times its projected revenue. SpaceX is asking for over 50 times.
The combination of sheer size and this extreme multiple is completely unprecedented.
Based on the numbers that we know, that is absolutely batshit.
Did we not have satellites before him? Did we not have internet before him?
This valuation
We get space research in return. Yeah, we had that before. NASA.
seems too good to be true.
Also, he just keeps blowing up rockets, so I don't think so.
Some investors may need it to be. In 2022, Elon Musk raised $44 billion and bought Twitter.
Now, remember, he did try to get out of that, and the court said, no, you already signed on to it. You need to buy it. But pay attention to this. This is what I'm talking about. This is what David is talking about, right? Even if we might disagree on some things, right? This is what David's talking about. It's not paper money. It's not liquidity. This is how they buy things. Ready? He's going to explain it to you.
His backers, Andreessen Horowitz, a Saudi prince, the co-founder of Palantir, and Jack Dorsey, the guy who founded Twitter in the first place. Musk renamed it X, and within a year, it's worth less than half he paid. That's a problem. There was also a solution. AI was hot. Musk owned an AI company, so he merged X into XAI. No cash changed hands. X investors received XAI stock. But that solution raised another problem.
He merged them together. Didn't even purchase. Nothing. Just merged them. Okay.
XAI is essentially a money furnace.
The solution? Musk has a rocket ship company. He uses it to buy XAI. Again, no cash exchanged. 3 companies, 2 mergers, $0 actually paid. Everyone who helped take Twitter private now holds SpaceX shares. Now, SpaceX isn't just a rocket company that sells internet. According to Musk, it's the future. Data centers in space.
If assuming my predictions come true, SpaceX will launch more AI than the cumulative amount on Earth of everything else combined.
I see no evidence that it's a viable business opportunity. There are far too many physical challenges with doing this.
But the value has to hold, because so far, no one has been paid. Investor shares are only worth something on paper. To turn paper into cash, SpaceX has to go public. When a company goes public, it opens its doors. Early investors cash out, get paid for the risk they took. Everyone else gets a chance to own a piece of something that used to be off limits. It's called an initial
Z-Spark, exactly. Can you say bubble?
public offering, or IPO for short.
It is a very
By the way, I am going to figure out a way to do that. I really would like to watch The Big Short in the Discord. For those of you who have not watched it, I think that you should. Again, it's about the 2008 housing crisis and all of the investors who caught on leading up to it. I watch it all the time when I can catch it on a streaming service. It's fucking fantastic. So I would really like to set up a movie night in the Discord to be able to do that.
normal part of a company's evolution and life cycle.
There isn't just Twitter investors here. SpaceX's original investors took a big risk. Peter Thiel, Palantir's other co-founder, Google, and Andreessen Horowitz. But SpaceX's IPO is anything but normal. In a typical IPO, 90% of shares go to institutional investors, pension funds, banks, insurance companies. Regular people,
Yeah, David, AI is a money hole. It's like, well, and that's the thing, right? Like with Twitter, like they even just said, right? It's worth half the value that he bought it for. Like it's bleeding money. Even if you look at Tesla, like the what they value the shares at for Tesla versus what they actually are bringing in profit compared to like a Ford stock share, it's insanity. It's insanity. It doesn't make any sense. They're valuing it way higher than what they actually are doing. They're bleeding money. His companies are bleeding money.
you get 10%. SpaceX says they're changing that 30% to ordinary people, Main Street, not Wall Street.
When you see an IPO give a far larger allocation to ordinary investors, it's usually a sign that they can't get professional investors to buy it at that price. The price is nuts. And if you can't sell it to professional investors, well, you sell it to unprofessional investors who don't know any better.
If people want to invest in SpaceX's IPO, that's their right. The problem is Musk found a way to make people invest in SpaceX whether they want to or not. How? Index funds.
The index fund is one of the rare examples of the finance industry coming up with something that lines the pockets of ordinary people and not Wall Street itself.
An index is a list. Someone decides which companies go on it. A fund is a basket. Someone builds it to mirror the list. When a company gets added to the index, every fund mirroring it has to buy shares. Not because they think it's a good investment, but because the rules require it.
Index funds have both outperformed the vast majority of active managers in every market, in every country over any time frame in the long run.
Thousands of indexes exist. Nearly a third of American stock is tied to one of them. One of the most popular tracks the NASDAQ 100, the 100 biggest non-financial stocks on the NASDAQ exchange. Under NASDAQ's index rules, SpaceX isn't eligible to be included in the NASDAQ 100. New companies have to wait up to a year. It's called seasoning.
Seasoning a stock is just the process of having it trade publicly for a while. Public markets tend to be
Jeff, how is Elon Musk contributing to society? How? What is he doing that's beneficial for the people as a whole? Besides just making money off of us.
Does he understand? Maybe not.
I know he doesn't, and I've described it to him a million times.
Yeah.
Like, what is he doing?
Someone said Starlink.
We shouldn't be mad at Elon Musk. It's not, here's the thing. I'm not mad at Elon Musk for being a supervillain, right? Like, I don't expect Elon Musk to wake up one day and be a human and care about other humans and do that. That's not the problem. I am mad at the system that keeps allowing it to happen, right? Over and over and over. The new one is tech and AI. The old one was the housing market. The one before that was the dot-com bubble. I am mad at a system of deregulation and crony capitalism that allows people like Elon Musk to exist. I would like that to be regulated. I would like that to be changed. I would like it. If he took his money, he can be rich. That's fine. But he was forced to have to invest back into the system that he's making the money from. Right?
Like, what could a trillionaire really need and want? Like, can we actually think about that for a second here? Like, genuinely.
I don't want him to be able to hoard the money.
No.
unsure of how to handle certain kinds of.
He is a human, though. The problem is you don't see him as one just because he's rich. No, I absolutely see him as a human. He's a human who disrespected his own daughter and disowned them. He is a human who has talked about just populating the earth, which is why he has confidentiality contracts with his baby mamas about having kids with them. He's a human. He's just not a very good one. But again, you're talking about the system that allowed him to exist. Somebody said something really great, which I loved. Norguy said, Lex Luthor does not happen in a vacuum. I want to stop the system that created him.
Didn't he also want to make like a whole commune?
No, they want people like Elon Musk and like Alex Karp, Curtis Yarvin, Peter Thiel. What they want is they want all these tiny little autocracies of like private militaries. And they want everything privatized so that they can make money off of it. But they want these like private little cities with private militias where you have to pay for everything, right? We talked about where Sam Altman said he would like AI to be something that is registered with a meter, like energy and water, so that they determine the cost of it. So again, they can just gouge the American people again. The way that corporate fiefdoms, the way that I always describe it, if you've never seen, you should probably watch Alien Earth, because that's going to be the best physical description of it. The TV series Alien Earth. So you know how you have like Wayland Yutani, and then you have the other company, and how they own these cities.
Oh,
that's what they want.
I see what you mean by that. So each
company
like
towns,
each corporation has only that corporation in that city. You can't get anything else but that corporation.
Correct.
Okay.
Which is why they got mad, because they're like, that's my property that landed in your city. And he's like, it's my militia protecting it. Like,
I get it.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes more sense than because I thought he was just thinking about like getting a bunch of women and then getting them pregnant and then repopulating.
I mean, he's also doing that. He is also doing that. But
okay. So it's all of the above is what I'm wondering.
Yeah.
Investments, novel sorts of companies really quickly.
Like a rocket company.
Exactly, Norguy. Corporations take over after government fails because they have all the resources. They own everything now, so the government is obsolete.
That makes most of its money providing satellite internet and wants to build AI infrastructure.
Ooh, he's a trillionaire, and he donated $400 million to build STEM schools in Texas.
In space. If Musk could change that rule, he could trigger mandatory buying of SpaceX stock by every fund that tracks the index. This spring, NASDAQ changed their rules. This document outlines the proposed changes to the NASDAQ 100 index. The most important, a fast entry rule. If a huge company goes public, it gets into the index in 15 trading days. No seasoning. There was a public comment period. Wall Street was for it. They say companies are more mature now, and these changes allow the index to better represent the market. The opposition came from regular investors concerned about buying unproven companies at high prices. But the rule change isn't the goal. The goal is what the rule change enables, a plan with 4 different steps. Like everything, the price of a stock is based on supply and demand. How do you increase the price? 1. Artificial scarcity. Most IPOs offer 15 to 20% of their shares to the public. SpaceX, less than 5.
2. Of those shares, retail investors get 30%, or up to 3 times the normal allocation. Remember, Main Street over Wall Street.
Combined, a bunch of demand and a small supply. That means a higher than normal price. 3. 15 trading days after the IPO, SpaceX enters the NASDAQ 100. Any index fund tracking the NASDAQ 100 now has to buy SpaceX.
You have this wall of money coming from index funds that it has to buy no matter what the price.
Turbocharging the price. Step 4, let early investors cash out. There are restrictions on this, a lockup period. Same idea as seasoning. The people who know the most aren't allowed to sell until the market has had time to actually figure out what the stock is worth.
According to SpaceX's own IPO filing, Elon has to wait a year. But some early investors can begin cashing out before the standard 180 days. The people buying as the price rises? Retirement savers, through index funds.
The people selling? If history is any guide, the original SpaceX, Twitter, and XAI investors.
I like to stay optimistic when I can, but the setup there is for some pretty abusive market manipulation. Legal, probably. Ethical, doubtful. And in fact, absolutely not.
None of this works without NASDAQ changing the rules. Musk made sure there was an incentive to do so.
NASDAQ is both an index provider and an exchange.
Ben Schifrin spent 18 years at the Security and Exchange Commission, which oversees the stock market.
It kind of used to be the case that the exchange wasn't really supposed to be this for-profit money-making entity, but now it is.
2 stock exchanges compete for every major listing, New York and NASDAQ.
For the NASDAQ stock exchange, having SpaceX is a big win. You want big, prestigious tech companies to go public there, and the New York Stock Exchange wants them to go public on the New York Stock Exchange.
SpaceX was the prize. Musk knew it. According to Reuters, Musk conditioned where SpaceX would list on one thing: fast-track SpaceX into their major index.
It's all gravy for NASDAQ.
SpaceX pays NASDAQ to list their stock. The real money is somewhere else.
All the data and trading fees that they then sell over time, year after year, to other trading firms, to asset managers.
Yes, Whitney. All of these are on YouTube and Twitch, the replays.
NASDAQ changed a rule that shapes trillions of dollars in retirement savings. No regulator approved it.
If an index wants to change how it's going to include certain stocks in that particular index, that is not something that has to be approved by the Securities and Exchange Commission.
Upwards of $30 trillion is being directed by a process that's effectively self-regulated.
I think at some point we are going to have to say that these are incredibly influential investment advisors in practice, and they should be regulated and supervised accordingly.
Because it's not just SpaceX or NASDAQ.
You can see how, one index provider getting the ball rolling would perhaps lead other index providers to follow.
You've probably heard of the S&P 500. It's the most powerful index in the world. Bloomberg reported the S&P is considering its own version of what NASDAQ just did. They'd shorten the seasoning period, and they'd let the largest companies in without ever showing a profit. The reason isn't a mystery. OpenAI and Anthropic are both expected to go public this year at massive valuations. Neither is profitable. There's no regulator watching. The only check is the index provider's own internal comment process. NASDAQ just ran one of those. When I asked NASDAQ if the change was made because SpaceX demanded it, and if there's a conflict of interest in being both an exchange and an index provider, NASDAQ never answered the conflict of interest question.
That's a problem, right? If all of these index funds start changing their rules to allow the SpaceX IPO to be bought in their index fund, for the shares to be bought, without this seasoning process, this process of determining if SpaceX is going to be profitable, you are creating a bubble. You're assuming it's going to be profitable, which is an interesting thing to say because his previous companies and the stocks in his previous companies are valued way higher than they're worth. So you're making a big bet. And we're seeing it now with things like Anthropic, things like OpenAI that are also planning to go public. They are going to be buying such huge chunks out of these companies that they don't even know is profitable. And if they fall apart, we're back to a housing crisis situation, but probably worse, to be honest.
But did say that the rule change reflects how markets have evolved. The consultation, they said, followed industry standards. The S&P is running the same playbook on the biggest index in the world. Their comment period is open. It closes in early June. Anyone can submit a comment, including you.
So if you haven't watched More Perfect Union, they're amazing. I have another video from them that we'll probably get to next week, and it is AOC visiting data centers. It was really, really great. And we'll probably get to that next week. But I just wanted to show you guys that. I thought it was great.
Can I do it? Can I do it?
Do what? Oh, y'all mad because Elon's going to be a trillionaire, get some stocks. By the way, Elon already is a trillionaire, Ruben. It is too late. The IPO went public and he is now officially a trillionaire. You must have missed it, but hi, Sandwich!
Bye, Sandwich!
Bye, Sandwich. Guys, if you want to mute somebody in the chat that you no longer want to listen to, but you don't want them to be gone forever, because, sometimes it's fun to see what they waste their one little chat on, you can do so.
Do you want someone muted in the chat? Is there someone who's spamming, making disingenuous arguments, displaying bot behavior, or maybe they're just a dumb bitch? Well, you can keep them muted and contribute to their degradation kink. But remember, while we don't kink shame, it is perfectly acceptable to kink ask why. You can keep them muted for as little as $2 a day, $7 a week, or $25 a month. Pay links in the bio.
All right.
Rick Bill Paxton is crazy hubbub.
We love Bill Paxton. PCA, you said Palantir, for example, was not profitable for years, and now the stock has 10 times in the last year. Yeah, why? Why did the valuation jump like that? But somebody's really mad about my pansexual flag, I guess. Okay. Moving on. I thought we would get to immigration today, but we did not. We had a therapy session, and then that I definitely did not get charged or to get paid the adequate amount for. And then economy. So
I feel like you should have a scene where you can just flip over to the MAGA therapy.
Yeah.
Like I have.
Yeah, like you have. I'll have to create one. So
I
let's
can
move
help.
Okay. I also am thinking about changing my background. I have one that I'm going to test with before we leave today. But we have a few things on Iran. So this is a montage because once again, Donald Trump said that we're close to a deal. If I remember correctly, he said in the Oval Office that a deal is going to be signed by Iran in Europe this weekend. And he just won't be able to attend because, you know, UFC fight, more important. He said that in the Oval Office. And so, yes, the prices started coming down, the stock market started going back up. But here is a CNN montage of the amount of times that he has said we're close to a deal. And yes, they give us the lovely dates.
We have major points of agreement. They want to make a deal. And we are very willing to make a deal. Well, I think we're going to end it. I can't tell you for sure when they want to make a deal so badly. You have no idea how badly they want to make a deal. They want to make a deal so badly. I do see a deal in Iran. We were very close to a deal. I think it's close to over, yeah. I mean, I view it as very close to over. It's looking very good that we're going to make a deal with Iran.
User, you said, what is worst, Patriot Act or Palantir? I think those two things go hand in hand now, unfortunately. Because Palantir is getting a lot of surveillance contracts from the government, which is just what they want. It's just what Peter Thiel wants. So I think those two things go hand in hand, and I'm not happy about that.
And it's going to be a good deal. This process should go very quickly. We're going to end that war very quickly. They want to make a deal so badly. We think we're close to a deal, and that's okay. We're in the final throes of what will be a very, very good deal.
Today makes 39 times that he has said something like that.
It's a very, very long 2 weeks of war. Yeah, it's been very long.
Every time I see Anderson Cooper, I'm like, Steve?
I mean, unless Steve is a Vanderbilt, because Anderson Cooper is a Vanderbilt.
That is true.
It is true. So here is reporting we're getting, though, as Donald Trump said there is a deal. Iran said, a bullshit. A bullshit.
A bullshit.
Over the next few days, we'll probably have a signing maybe in Europe.
And has the Supreme Leader approved this deal, sir?
I understand the answer is yes.
I understand the answer is yes. Now, would it surprise you to learn that is not true? A senior
No.
Iranian official tells MS Now Iran has not agreed to anything. State media reported the same thing, but oil prices fell and stocks rose on Trump's guarantees. That's pretty much exactly what happened the nearly 40 previous times Donald Trump promised a peace deal was this close. This whole thing has been impossible to follow, even for professionals like us that have to follow it for a living. The fundamental issue here is that there is a real crisis. It is produced by Donald Trump with help from Netanyahu. There are real bombs falling, real people dying, like the Iranian schoolgirls whose school was destroyed on the first day of Trump's war by American weapons, and the 13 American service members who died, and the Indians who died at sea, and not to mention the drinking water plants being bombed in the past day.
By the way, I just saw the story about that. The Indian oil tankers that we have been bombing on their way out, we have killed upwards of 3 of these workers on these oil tankers. So India is very, 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 very fucking unhappy with us right now.
Acts the military called self-defense strikes and retaliation for downing of a U.S. helicopter. All of this is real, except to Donald Trump, who is incapable of seeing it, this crisis, as anything other than a PR issue. And he cannot understand why his incessant self-contradictory jawboning isn't getting him better press.
Probably because you're just lying about it. I mean, like, you're not going to get applause for starting a war and not ending it. You keep saying we won it, you keep saying it's over, but it's not working. So we go back to the polling, again, back to our good boy Red Bull Golden Retriever, Harry Enton. We did it, Joe. W's to the TikTok chat for the 200,000 likes. You guys are fucking amazing. Thank you so much for working so hard with those fingers today. I do appreciate it. Guys, that means on YouTube, you guys better have hit that thumbs up because you're just not doing it in the way that they do it over here. I know the system is different. You can only do 1 like, so I get it. TikTok's different. But thank you guys for the 200,000 likes, and thank you for the support that you guys give me here every single day. Truly, it keeps me going. Going live. Oh, YouTube. What does that mean, Hector? You're gonna go live on YouTube? Or going to YouTube. Okay. I'm deciphering your words. It's happening. So this is Trump's net approval for GOP under age 45 on foreign affairs and Iran. So let's see what that looks like. I might have to move. I fucked up. If you guys see my screen on TikTok move a little bit, I apologize. I unclicked that stupid check button when I was switching accounts that said keep your thing the same. And so I had to completely reset it. And I think I fucked it up. So,
what did you do?
There's like a little button for like when you get off of TikTok Studio or you switch between accounts that's like leave the layout the same. I accidentally unchecked it.
Oh.
So I had to add my virtual cam and stuff back, and now I can see that like I'm shifted again. So I need to like move myself, but it's fine. I'll fix it later. It's fine.
Why are we blaming me?
No, not you. I fucked it up.
No, I'm looking at the chat.
Oh, hashtag blame. I was like, I didn't know. What?
The fuck I do?
Oh, God. Oh, is Hector coming in here? Hector gets to be a mod whether he wants to be or not. He's not going to be in there ever, but he just gets to be so he can mess with them if he wants to, just because that's for funsies. Okay.
Hi, Hector!
You hit it on your intro, Omar. That is Trump putting a historically strong performance with younger voters. And here we're talking about voters under the age of 45. He beat Kamala Harris with them, or at least beat the prior Republican baselines with them. And you can see it right here on foreign policy. He absolutely crushed Kamala Harris as who was more trusted under the age of 45 on foreign policy. Look at that. Was more trusted than Kamala Harris by 9 points. Come over to this side of the screen, Omar. Look at this. Look at this shift. He has a net approval rating now on foreign policy 40 points underwater, a nearly 50-point switcheroo. So after putting in the strongest performance, more trusted on foreign policy, the first since George W. Bush all the way back in 2004, he has completely lost that advantage. Way down there, he is no longer groovy, according to the young people of America.
Groovy, that's a great word
Groovy.
choice.
You're groovy.
You know, big discrepancy here, obviously, but how much is the Iran war contributing to what we're seeing?
I think it's contributing a whole heck of a lot to what we're seeing right here, because just take a look how under the age of 45 feel about Iran. Not worth the cost. Look at this. 4 in 5. 81% say the Iran war is not worth the cost. And look at Trump's disapproval. Basically simpatico with this. 77%.
Cap Life, why are you crying? I literally actually tell my mods specifically not to mute. They actually don't mute people very often. Sometimes Justin and Eli like to mute you for like 1 minute to 5 minutes just to be assholes, but that's their prerogative. They can do that. But for the most part, I tell them not to mute. So if you want to cry, I don't know what that sentence means. These guys are quick to block the chat, but then cry sanctuary cities. What? You okay? I'm being oppressed. All right, well.
Of those under the age of 45 say the Iran war, say that Trump's disapproval on the Iran war, way up there like a rocket at 77%. So not worth the cost. Trump disapproval, both converging about 4 in 5 of those under the age of 45. No wonder that Trump's net approval rating on foreign policy among those under the age of 45 is way underwater at minus 40 points.
Well, even within that young group, I mean, what about young Republicans? How do they feel in this?
You'd think this nearly 50-point switcheroo is bad. You think nearly 4 in 5 disapproving, 4 in 5 saying not worth the cost is bad. What about young Republicans? This is the Republican base we're talking about here. Take a look at this. Trump's net approval, GOP under age 45. Look at that. He's underwater with them on foreign affairs. Look at that. His net approval rating, 10 points underwater. My goodness gracious. This is Republicans. How about on the Iran war? 14 points underwater with them.
6,
so
7,
even among young Republicans, Donald Trump has lost the faith of them, and indeed they want, in fact, the policy for the next Republican president. They do not want to be following Trump's policy on the Iran war. I think we may be going towards a real sort of pivot point within the Republican Party on foreign policy when it comes to young Republicans, as even they have turned against the President of the United States when it comes to foreign policy, foreign affairs, and the Iran war.
Some really significant contrasts there. Harry, deep in the data like always.
Deep in the data, deep in the spreadsheets, and have a groovy Friday, Omar.
Groovy. There's
groovy.
That word again.
I don't know
Good
what's
to
wrong
see
with
you.
you today.
No, you.
I don't know what happened to Harry. He's on something for those sets of polling. Which, by the way, I don't have it, but AP just did a poll with independents. Now, remember, we've talked about this before in relation to election or festivals. Shh, TikTok, it's fine. Festivals is that you don't win without independents. Independent polling, as he had the majority before the festival in 2024, they are now at a 43% approval. He has lost the independents that he gained. That spells bad news for them in the midterms. So we're going to see where that gets us. 10 minutes. Okay.
Guys, keep tapping that screen. Let's at least aim for that 230. I know we can hit that 230 within the next 9 minutes. I think next week across the board, we should be focusing on those shares. It is absolutely interesting how we have 28 shares. Again, I told you guys you can hold down the screen and share it to your top 50 people. When you hear people like Monty and Hector and other people like, whoa, Olive, that's because I'm holding down my screen and sharing it the fuck out. Let's do something like that next week. Make sure you are reposting, add to your stories, stay engaged. And again, you can always throw a little extra tip to your favorite content creators. Make sure you guys are doing that. What is it, probably on acid? What does that mean?
Are we talking about Harry Enton? Maybe.
Groovy.
Could be. I don't know where he jumped back to the 60s, so maybe that's true.
That was out of context altogether. But guys, make sure we're doing all the fantastic things. It is Friday, but I know you guys can push through.
W's to Jeff for the $5. You said, despite what you and Olive may think of me, I still enjoy watching both of you when I can, and I do listen and learn from you both. Also, W stream today. I don't have preconceived notions of you, Jeff. I think that's the thing. I don't think bad things about you. I think that I've spent a lot of time in Ari's Discord and here on my stream where I really, really, really am trying to give you this information, but I can't spoon feed it to you. I can only give you what I have, and then what I expect of you as an accountable voter is for you to go look that up. And I think the problem has been when it comes to things, when we are talking about welfare programs, when we are talking about politics and their policies from each party and whether they are helpful or not, we've given you this information and it just seems like you fall back on this idea of, well, it seemed like it was better. And that's where I have an issue. But it's not because of anything with you personally. It is not personal. And I want you to know, I did see your Discord message. I will get back to you. I just had a busy day yesterday, so I couldn't. But thank you. W's to Jeff for the 5.
I just also think a lot of it is the exhausting fact of feeling like being spoon-fed. I'm not here to spoon-feed people. If I was here to spoon-feed people, I would focus on going back to the daycare realm. You're a grown adult. Monty has had more conversations with you than I did, because anytime I butted in, you assumed I was just always angry, and that's not the case. I think the biggest frustration is the fact that we're all adults and we can all see the harm, and I wish more people would understand that the harm that is being done due to one's vote because of regret people need to understand why. And how to do better the next go around, and not the same argument of, well, what do you mean by X, Y, and Z? Like, I've explained this to you beforehand.
Well, speaking of voting and festivals, we're going to get to the Plattner stuff a little bit. So, that's how I'm going to end. I'll go over a little bit, probably trying to finish this segment, but I'm going to get through this. So, do my work for me, Dad, never. So this is part of Graham Plattner's speech the night he was the projected winner in the primary in Maine, the Senate primary, where he beat out Janet Mills. And when I say he beat her out, I mean he wiped the floor with her ass. So Janet Mills, 18.8% of the vote. This was just with 8% reporting in. He had 75% of the vote. He literally wiped the floor with her. So this is part of his acceptance speech in regards to his redemption story. Now, again, we were going to get into the controversy. We are going to get into it. What I want to say is that he has been the only one who's been directly addressing it and talking about it, not shying away from it. So let's get into that.
I am a son of rural Maine. I was a kid who picked blueberries under the July sun.
Which, by the way, I don't have it today. I wish I did, but there is a video of Donald Trump talking about Plattner's win, and he calls him a thug. This man's he's a born and raised in Maine fisherman. I don't know. I don't know.
And then one day, I was a kid who signed up and left to fight for his country. And when I returned, I carried with me the weight of forever wars and the struggle and the alienation that came with it. but I'm also a lucky one who found his way back, who found a living on the sea, and a home and a community that offered love and redemption. Redemption is not just some simple or easy destination. It's a journey.
Xandrick, what I will say is it actually is. If you look up the insignia that was used by the Nazi Party during that time, it is called a Totenkopf. You can look it up. They used to wear it on insignia on their lapels or on their hats. If you encounter somebody with a profile picture like that, we have on this platform a lot. It is. He has addressed it. He says that they were in another country when he was serving. They were on leave. They all went and got this tattoo. They picked something off of the wall. They did not know what it was his claim. He has since had it covered up. He has shown us the cover up that he did of it.
I've made mistakes in my life, mistakes that I regret, that I live with, and that I continue to learn from. And I'm still far from perfect. But every day I wake up and I try to be a little bit better and a little bit kinder than I was the day before. And if you give me the chance, I will be a senator for the people who cannot afford to buy a senator.
And that's the thing. Remember what he's been running on. He is running with Bernie Sanders on going after the oligarchy, on making sure that these people pay their fair share and invest in this system that they are making money off of. He is anti-AI, anti-data centers. He is pro-people. So we want to, we want to look at his policies, look at what he is advocating for. But we'll get into the controversies. W's to Ryan for the $5. He says, I think Harry is just Bruce Campbell fan groupie. Who? I feel like I should know who that is. Bruce Campbell. That's funny. Yeah, probably. W's too. Thank you so much.
I will stand up for you and against billionaires and greedy corporations. I will serve you, the people of Maine, not some lobbyist or party boss. I will be the champion for your dreams as if it were my own, no matter the challenge or the expense. I will fight for you. I have been willing to die for my country. There is nothing that I will not do for the state of Maine.
His voice is kind of like Jesse Ventura. So let's.
I was so confused because I don't think I've ever physically heard him talk, like actually heard it. And so
Jesse Waters hates his voice.
Of course he does.
Says it's like running it through gravel. Like, yeah, he has a gravelly voice. Yeah.
He has a lower voice.
Yeah, lower register voice. It's a little rougher. It makes Jesse Waters very mad.
I'm sorry that Jesse Waters has high octaves in his voice. Like,
it likes to, yeah. Jesse Waters hates that he loves his voice. That's absolutely true. So let's talk about it, because Jeff P, different Jeff P, is saying that we are now for Nazis and women harmers. So let's get into some of that. Graham Plattner faces another controversy days ahead of Maine Senate primary. Obviously, he won this. So let's get into it. On Thursday, the New York Times reported allegations of Plattner's unsettling behavior toward women he dated, including one claim that he was physically abusive, which Plattner denies. According to the Times, Plattner's then-girlfriend, Lindsay Fifield, which, by the way, apparently she is some sort of right-wing activist, said that while they were dating a decade ago, he, quote, regularly grabbed her by the shoulder, sometimes hard enough to leave marks. During one argument, he, quote, twisted her arm behind her back, shoved her into a bedroom, and held the door closed. In an interview with MS Now, after the Times report was published, Plattner denied Fifield's claims. There are some allegations in this piece that I just want to be kind of unequivocal about, are simply not true. Plattner, a political novice and oyster farmer, has also insisted that he did not know a chest tattoo he got as a Marine while drunk in 2007 is a widely recognized Nazi symbol. He has since had the tattoo covered up, but Fifield told the Times that Plattner did know its significance and that he even joked about it. He said, anything alleging physicality, anything alleging that I knew what my tattoo was, these are the statements of someone who's politically motivated, Plattner said in the interview. Jeff P., did you vote for Donald Trump? Can you answer me that? Because you just said, I believe all women. Did you vote for Donald Trump? I'll wait. Eli, you know exactly where I was going. How convenient. Irrelevant. Did you believe E. Jean Carroll? It is absolutely relevant. Did you believe E. Jean Carroll? In a statement to CBS News, Plattner said, throughout this campaign, I've been open about what was a very dark period of my life where I struggled with undiagnosed PTSD, too often self-medicated with alcohol, and was a far from perfect boyfriend. I take responsibility for all of that and wish I had been better. Any characterization beyond that is false and I believe politically motivated. I'm not proud of who I was then, but I am proud of the work I've done since and the movement we are building in Maine. Fifield is a conservative who lives in Virginia and has worked for Republican campaigns and the Heritage Foundation, a conservative think tank, according to publicly available bios. She said she dated Plattner from 2013 to 2015 and told the Times that she has not been paid by a political campaign or entity since she worked briefly for Nikki Haley's 2024 presidential campaign. If he didn't do anything wrong, why isn't he proud of himself? Because he's not proud of his actions, the comments he made on Reddit, or his lack of knowledge on the tattoo he got. He's been very honest about that. He's been very honest about that. Plattner also acknowledged he sent sexually explicit text messages to other women soon after he married his wife, Amy Gertner, in 2023. Gertner had disclosed the existence of the messages to the campaign soon after it launched. On Thursday, Plattner told MS Now, at the beginning of our marriage, I made mistakes, and Amy held me accountable for them, and we worked through them. Again, he was honest about his infidelity. And then it goes into the Senate race. So, we're going to get into the hypocrisy and the bullshit that the media does in regards to Plattner. If you want to ask him questions about the things going on in his life and the things he did, you can absolutely do so. But the comparison that they try to make here with him is absolutely wild.
And I will say, as someone who has been kind of like on the fence, I have read more into him. And, you know, I hope that he continues to do the growth that he has been doing.
Sure. Jeff P., you still didn't answer that. Did you believe E. Jean Carroll? That's my question for you.
Asked this question by Chris Hayes about the issue of, is there more out there? What else could be out there that might be revealed during the campaign? And you deflected, said among other things, this is between you and your wife. Was understood.
I wouldn't call that a deflection. I think the fact that he was cheating on his wife by sending sexually explicit text messages to another woman is between him and his wife. I don't know what that has to do with his ability to be a senator.
It's like, it's wild.
Him being a cheater and not being able to have a marriage where he didn't cheat doesn't make him a bad senator. Like, that's...
You know what that makes him, Monty?
A man?
Yeah. That's it. It just makes him a man.
Hi, Hector.
Hi, Hector.
Hi, I'm here to be that guy.
Oh, no.
You guys don't care about any of this stuff.
Yeah.
I can at least say, as a person who does not like Graham Plattner, or at least his history, but if I was in Maine, I would vote for him. I can say the whole basis for me voting for Graham Plattner is because he's actually acknowledged all this stuff that we're talking about.
Yep.
It's because he's actually shown remorse and apologized. Hey, do we know if it's completely genuine? But he's done it. The President of the United States still won't acknowledge the fact that his first wife testified in their divorce papers that he raped her.
Yep.
Beat her and raped her.
Mm-hmm.
He will not acknowledge any of the times that he cheated on his wives. That's just public information. He won't address it. Not a why, not a I'm sorry, I should do better as a Christian man, right? Right? Because you guys think he's a Christian? None of this shit matters to you. Fuck off. And support Monica and Oliver, you're a bigot.
Thank you, Hector. And like I keep saying, again, he addressed the tattoo. He got the tattoo covered up. He's apologized for the tattoo. But one thing I will say is, if you want us to address Nazis in the Democratic Party, address the Nazis in your party first.
Pete
Hegseth,
Hegseth,
Stephen Miller.
Oh, damn, we were on the same fucking path that said Pete Hegseth.
Stephen Miller.
Yeah, all of them.
Of course, he's going to address it, Jeff. People don't address it. People don't address it. They'll just deny it. He's not denying it. That's the thing. He's not denying it. That's a different. I did, Emma. I did see Stephen Miller's new baby name. I did see that it is HH, and I did see that it is 14 letters long. I did see that.
I do think we have to lay off on the Schnatzy stuff because that old guy might call us again.
I'll just turn the phone lines off because I'm over my time anyway. I just want to finish this.
Understandable.
I'm just saying.
Because for Maine voters in a general election, the question is, what is out there? What is not in your possession that you sent to others who may have in their possession?
Chris,
How
no.
many concerning pictures and or text messages are in the possession of other people that could be used against you? And I'd like to know if there are pictures, concerning pictures.
I will just say that the nature of Amy and I's relationship has been blown, I would say, totally out of proportion. Early in our marriage, we had some struggles.
But again, why are we not asking him about his campaign and his promises and what he plans to do if he wins the Senate seat? Why are we asking him about the fact that he cheated on his wife?
And we worked through them because that's what you do when you're in love with somebody. And it made our marriage much stronger, made us, frankly, a much happier and communicative couple. I was single for the majority of my adult life. I was in my 20s and 30s and I dated. And, you know, that's in the modern...
Securitron, I can't. Securitron said, wait, Stephen Miller can reproduce? The fuck? It might be like asymbiotically or like osmosis, but like he did, yeah.
Yeah, it's a test tube, baby.
age, that's what happens. You date people and you use dating apps and you do all this stuff. And frankly, that all happened long before I got married. And
Exactly, Jen. Why is MS now not grilling Susan Collins on her horrific voting record? She claims to be an independent, but votes with Republicans 90% of the time. She also had a video from way back when where she said, I will only serve 2 terms because that's all you need to serve. Here we are all these years later.
happened long before I decided to run for the United States Senate. I can just tell you, there is nothing out there that is going to be, will run counter to any of the stories that I've talked about openly this entire campaign. And I know everyone continues to be like, oh, what else is coming? You know, ironically,
right,
the whole what else is coming has essentially been the same thing the whole time, which is I've been very open about the fact that I struggled, very open about the fact that I had a long litany of failed relationships for years because I myself was not in a good place. And then every now and again, we will have a media outlet or a politically motivated attack come up and try to drag it all up. But it's all very much within the exact same story that I've told this entire time.
Okay, so you say there's nothing out there that could be concerning. And this may seem a little bit rich.
There's nothing out there. I just want to make this clear. There's nothing out there that's actually concerning. People will make everything seem very concerning because that's what people do in politics. But, you know, I think the thing about all of this is what I find to be kind of most curious is this is what everyone wants to make the campaign about. So we do not talk about the struggles of working Mainers. We do not talk about the fact that
Not the sound of her scratch pad.
I know someone in my hometown here who works 3 jobs and pays over 60% of her monthly income in rent. I think that matters a lot more than the details of my relationship before I ran for United States Senate. That's just me.
Okay, so then let me ask you this way. Can you just talk about the nature of the sexting in terms of can you call for the release?
Here's the one I want you to listen to. This is the bullshit, disingenuous bullshit from the media. I want you to listen to this. We just went over the controversy, right? The controversy was that he was sexting with a consenting adult behind his wife's back. Remember? That's what we talked about. Listen to what she compares it to.
About the nature of the sexting in terms of, can you call for the release of the Epstein files? And can you call out those who have abused women and not be conflicted in any way?
Yes, of course. I mean, I engaged in consensual romantic activities with adults at an earlier part in my life. That seems like a fairly normal thing most people do. Going to an island with billionaires to possibly assault children is a vastly, vastly different thing.
What the fuck? Look, you want to call him a shitty man for cheating on his wife? Call him a shitty man. He can call for the release of the Epstein files and at the same time be a shitty husband because he consensually texted adults. That has nothing to do with what Epstein did and what the Trump administration is covering up. Speaking of, let's go back to the, am I going to be nice? No, probably not. I'm not. The scarecrow that is Kellyanne Conway. She crawls out of the field every now and again to like say things with her mouth. It's really annoying. But I want you to listen to the things that she says about Plattner. But just imagine, do these words apply to someone else?
And the rest of the Democrats, and they said, is there anything else? Ladies and gentlemen, what else do you need? Is there a magic number in the Scandalabra that would make you stop? Would it have to do with Nazis or putting upon women, perhaps underage women, but definitely women not your wife of 2 years?
Again, she included that. She's saying underage women. There is no accusations towards Graham Plattner of him talking to or engaging with underage women. So she's already fucking lying there. But you know who did? You know who does have those allegations?
With Nazis or putting upon women, perhaps underage women, but definitely women not your wife of 2 years? Would it be that you're lying about, that you're insulting heroes, that he's not even fit to lick their combat boots? So I'd ask the Democrats, is power really worth that to you? Because power for power's sake is the definition of corruption.
I don't know, Kellyanne. Is power for power's sake to you? Because I can think of someone who cheated on his wife, with his first wife, with his second wife with his third wife with a girlfriend and a porn star 6 weeks after she gave birth to their son. I can also think of the amount of allegations he has against them from grown women for rape, and also the allegations he has of supposedly children as well. And also, degrading heroes. I think there was a guy back in the day, and he talked shit on one of our most famous and notorious POWs in this country who served, and made fun of him and said, I like my heroes not captured. I think we could be talking about that guy. Oh, no, we're not talking about Plattner, are we? We're talking about Donald Trump. You alternative fact scarecrow bitch, go crawl back into the field that you winced. You came. All right, a few more videos here. This was on The Morning Joe. The Morning Joe went around and decided that they were going to speak to 3-time Trump voters to see where they are at now. It was Andrew Jackson to see where they're at now. Yes, McCain. We are talking about Donald Trump speaking on John McCain, a American hero. He would be rolling in his grave to see the things that his daughter tweets. Meghan McCain, get your shit together, babe. Stop blocking people, you scared little bitch. Okay, anyway, 3-time Trump voters and what they feel about Trump.
A Conn-Selmer instrument plant in Eastlake, which is near Cleveland. The plant's billionaire owner, John Paulson, a close ally of President Trump, is sending all those jobs to China. Annette Dombrowski is a 3-time Trump voter and a janitor at that Eastlake plant. At the end of this month, she will now be out of a job.
Meghan McCain changed. So she wasn't a Trump supporter, but then she's been, defending everything that Trump's done recently on her Twitter.
MS Now reporter Alex Tabbitt sat down with her at her home last week, asked her about being laid off and whether she thinks President Trump understands what she is going through.
I actually have panic attacks. I've had a couple this past week, and I get very emotional over it. I don't want to work anymore, but I can't afford to retire.
Obviously, President Trump is immensely wealthy, has been wealthy since he was born.
Yep.
Do you think he understands?
No. No. He hasn't lived it to understand it. He sees it, he has not lived it. He needs to live it. Wear the clothes,
told you that.
wear the shoes, wear your Walmart clothes, wear your Walmart shoes. Do your thrift store shopping. Don't eat steaks. I don't get to go out to dinner. It's not an overnight thing, but it's been 2 years now. You said you'd bring down the grocery prices. Literally, I must be the most angry person when I grocery shop because I buy the same things every week and I see it jump.
See, here's the thing, Eclectic. This is probably one of my hot takes that get me in trouble within my own community sometimes, which is that I do. My empathy is not conditional because I'm a humanist. I believe in humanity. I think we forget that our society, these red states, she's in Ohio, they have funding removed for their education. This is on purpose. This was constructed for them to be uneducated on politics and to not understand how it works. We cannot write these people off. I'm sorry. I'm sorry we can't. We cannot. Sorry to Hector to throw you under the bus. Hector was a Trump supporter or a Trump voter. RTP was never a Trump supporter, but he was in the Republican Party. He helped work on Mitt Romney's campaign. He used to believe all the things, all the isms, all the phobias, all the things. I get that your empathy is running low. I'm saying I can have empathy for the understanding that they are uneducated. We talk to the ones that are educated and are just hateful. We talk to those people. Some of them are not. If we don't find a place for them to land, they'll just keep going back to their abusive ex-boyfriend, the Republican. Hi, Hector.
Hi, I'm back to preach. So yeah, I was MAGA. And every time people say stuff like that, you basically exclude me.
We
That
never would have brought
that's
you in, apparently.
literally, I would have been a grifter. I would have just only done this because my family abandoned me or whatever, even though they're actually not political at all, or they're actually conservative, all that stuff. And I think it's actually, and this is something I have to catch myself in a lot too. I think one of the craziest thing that we do on the left is talk about the gross amounts of misinformation and disinformation, how pathetic our education system is, not only about American politics, but the world. And at the same time, we beat people over the head when they don't know things. Like, it's one thing if someone is like just coming at you with all their talking points, blah, blah, never looked it up, and you're like, yeah, that's stupid, but what are you doing? Yeah, sure. But it's a whole other thing when we're literally insulting people for only knowing what the system allowed them to learn, especially from red states. These people are statistically not as knowledgeable on things as some of us in other areas. I was literally one of them. Tennessee, Kentucky, now I'm in Texas. Now I know more now because I did my own due diligence. The education system didn't do shit. I didn't go to college. I had to do this stuff myself. A lot of people don't think about it. They don't have the time, the means, so on and so forth. So that's all. And if you don't have the empathy for them and stuff like that, that's why we're here. That's why we do this.
Yep.
That's another thing I think we have an issue with. I think a lot of people host lives to get their rocks off and beat down on people versus actually educating. It's a whole other conversation. All right, I'm done. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Hector.
Because here's my thing. I understand, Jamie, you're saying they need to be actively doing. Not as many people are as politically inclined as us. I eat, breathe, sleep this to my detriment constantly. When I get off of here today, I'm going to feed my kids and I'm going to be scrolling Twitter and I'm going to be catching up on RTP. I'm going to be doing this all day. Literally all day what I do is I refresh my Twitter so I can add it to my outline for the next day, for next week. I do it all the time. I eat, sleep, breathe it.
I mean, we play games and we still have conversations about politics. Like, during
These
the game.
people don't. These people don't. She probably watches her local news station. That's it. And so she sees a lot of like shooting this weekend, robbery this weekend. That's what she sees. And she maybe sees one campaign speech where one person promises they're going to fix it.
And a lot of them don't know how. A lot of them weren't taught to how to think outside of their box properly. I know I've been corrected on so many different things, and I think I've gotten a lot better because education has been shit. Education has left some of these people. And this is where, we take a step back and we have to understand, there's some things that I still actively work on as a content creator. But the important thing is just like what Hector did. Every person who you see who hosts these big lives, everyone's intention is to educate. I hope and I think majority of the people I surround myself with educate people. And I'm proud to be one of those people. And I want to continue to be those people. And I want to continue to try and bridge the gap between people who choose to not understand or those who don't know how to understand.
No, I agree, Jamie, that they have to start voting correctly, but that's going to take time. It's not going to be one election that they flip. It's just not. It's not going to be that. And my issue that I see a lot of times on platforms is that we find people who are either regretful, but I think that we on the left assume that because they say they regret or they say they're not supporting Trump anymore, that means they've flipped. And it doesn't. It doesn't. They still have this programming of conservative policy in their head. And what we want to do is we want to beat them up for that regret. We want to make them feel that regret harder. We want them to prove to us that they're sorry enough. It's going to take time. It's going to take work. People do not deconstruct overnight. God knows I'm still deconstructing. I'm just giving them a place to listen to that and to be there. And like Hector said, if you don't have the spoons for that, if you can't do that, no shame to you. That's just where I'm at. I just wanted to address it since we're talking about 3-time Trump voters.
Every week. It is not every couple months. It's literally every week.
Alex also spoke with another 3-time Trump voter, a man named Chris Tackett, a trucker from Ohio, who said he's fed up with the president's broken promises.
When President Trump said he wasn't going to start foreign wars, when he said he was going to bring down prices, did you believe him?
Yeah. I mean, his first term, I think he held true to everything that he said he was going to do. I think he fought for everything he said he was going to fight for. This time around, I haven't seen it. He's backtracked on every single pitch point he had during his election. He's backtracking on. All we heard was drill during the election, and now all we're getting is drilled into the dirt with these prices. So I'm not a fan of him.
Is that guy running for Congress? Because that sounded like a campaign slogan.
I voted for Trump all 3 terms. To be honest with you, I'm not a big supporter of him at this point.
If you could talk directly to President Trump, what would you tell him right now?
Get it together, man. The average American is struggling to make ends meet right now. And nobody wants to hear the war's almost over. Nobody wants to hear it's going to get better. You've had a year to make it better at this point. Make it better.
They're coming around to it. They see it. They see that all he is doing is looking for accolades, things to put his name on, and that he's not doing the things that he needs to be doing for them.
Jamie, I don't think there's anything wrong with you still feeling the way you feel at all. I think I myself, who has 4 parents who all voted for Trump all 3 years, and who sometimes has conversations with them about politics, and yet they still pivot back to the same old things. Maybe I just have a little bit more patience for my parents than I do other people, because I want to genuinely believe, well, besides my dad and my stepmom, but I genuinely want to believe my mom doesn't feel the way she actually feels when we have conversations on politics. And maybe it's just a different thing. And, just like Hector said, red states have shit education. So
Thank
empathy,
you, David, for being here. I appreciate you. Sorry, babe.
Oh,
Go
sorry
ahead.
about that.
No, you go.
It's just, you got to learn who you're talking to and whether or not they're being genuine or whether they're not being genuine. Because I could argue that non-genuine regretful voters that we have gotten who are like, well, the system just needs to burn down now after they were burned by Trump, pending the conversation and the way things go, can change the conversation.
Yeah, because I think even that, we've been getting a lot of regretful voters or like, I don't support him anymore, but both sides. We've been getting a lot of that. And I think that is still them coping with what they're seeing. And it is, we've had it happen. We've had so many conversations with people. Here's the point. And they're like, I agree. And they get to the point where
and
it's
then
like,
they
okay,
push
well then,
back.
and they push back. That's what's happening when they're yelling both sides. They're pushing back because it's like, politics is so ingrained in us. They can sit here and say, we don't talk politics at the dinner table. It is indoctrinated into us how we're raised. And it takes a lot to break that cycle and to break out of it. And so I think even that is something we can work on with them. This both sides ism is something that we can work for sure. We just have to keep having the conversations. I've got 2 more videos and then we will get out of here. I have to feed my children. These are both from someone who so far technically has been the only one when he was with Al Sharpton, where he kind of basically said he's running without officially saying he's running. But I love him personally. I know there's critiques. There's always going to be critiques because no politician is perfect. But I'm also tired of pretending that I have to find critiques in politicians that I like. I will find those critiques and I will talk about them. But my issue is that we say, I like this person. And they're like, okay, well, what do you not like about him? Okay, yeah, those critiques still exist and I will talk about those critiques. But I can also just like people. So we're going to play a couple clips from somebody who will probably be a name that we hear. Hopefully a name we start hearing more often. And that is Pete Buttigieg. So this is healthcare.
So how do we build a majority to win?
This is the most extraordinary thing. The majority is there on the issues. And yet they make members of that majority feel like they're alone.
That's how the rainbow, that's the work of the rainbow.
You're not alone if you think that healthcare ought to be a right for every American.
Right.
You're not alone. That's not a minority position. That's what most people think. You're not alone if you think the minimum wage ought to be raised. Most Americans, even most Republicans, not in Congress, but in the real world, most Republicans think we ought to do that. A higher minimum wage. You're not alone if you refuse to accept the idea that we can't fund rural hospitals or good schools.
But even Sid Life, even that comment that you made, I think that that's part of the problem of this labeling of policy too, right? You said, like, I am extremely conservative on some things and extreme left on others. And you said, like, I believe in God. I think the labeling that believing in God is a conservative ideology is wrong. There are plenty that are left-leaning and vote Democratic or vote progressive that believe in God. I think the problem is that they slapped that evangelical label onto the Republican Party and ran with it to try to sell it and advertise to that group for the voting bloc, but not because of what it actually is. You can absolutely be progressive and left. I don't think it is conservative to believe in God. I think that is just people.
Or better roads at a moment when the wealthiest people in this country pay a lower tax rate than the nurses who work in those hospitals, and the teachers who teach in those schools, and the workers who work on their roads. That is not a minority view.
Exactly. Hi, Blue, the deacon. And exactly, Hector, that's why Tallarico is doing so well. He's a progressive, but he's very entrenched in his faith.
And so there's a kind of a sleeping giant to be awakened here. And I know your father talked about the quilt, that common ground, that stitching together that has to happen.
Abdul El-Sayed in Michigan is fantastic. The reason I'm bringing up Pete is because he is a name being thrown around that he's most likely going to run in 2028.
When that happens, we'll realize that actually we have a powerful majority, but just because you win an argument doesn't mean you get to win the outcome, the policy. That requires political.
So that's the thing, right? Single-payer healthcare and universal healthcare is really an 80-20 issue. But they try to tell you that you're alone in it, that you're the minority, that you're fighting uphill, and you're not. And just remember that you're not. All right, last one that I have from Pete Buttigieg is his radical position. I don't think it's radical, but that's just me personally, and that is the idea that vote for vote. That's how we should be counting. Hector, you and Erica on your Fun and Facts, you guys showed the video, which I'd seen before a couple days before that, where Mehdi Hassan went on Patrick Bet-David's show talking about the festivals and voting. And Patrick Bet-David just was like showing his map and like, look at all that red. And Mehdi kept bringing up to him like, land doesn't vote, Patrick. You know that land doesn't vote. And that's the problem, is that we give an extra voice to rural communities for their land than we do for the actual vote for vote. So I would disagree with that personally. I would want that to move away from that.
That's radical stuff you're talking about right here.
The radical, and let's talk one more thing, one more radical proposition on the executive branch. What if everybody's vote counted the same? What if everybody's vote just counted the same for president? Just to get here, I started my day in northern Michigan.
In case everybody can't see Hector's comment, 115,000 votes. That's what we lost our democracy by. 115,000 votes is what Kamala lost by. That's it. It's not that many.
Drove through Indiana and came here to the south side of Chicago. So 3 states. I started my day in a swing state, came through a place in Indiana where voters' voices basically do not matter in presidential politics because the state is so Republican. And now we sit in a place where voters' voices mostly don't matter in presidential politics because the state is so Democratic. As if how could anything be fair about your power changing based on which side of the state line you live on? And having grown up alongside a state line, maybe I'm extra attuned to this because you would literally see, I don't want to sound like Sarah Palin, but from my office in South Bend, Indiana, you could see Michigan on a clear day. And why would anybody's power as a citizen change just because you were here or because you were there? Imagine, let's say Illinois is a 60-40 Democratic state. I'm making that up, but that's roughly true. But imagine if a Republican who wanted to be president had to come here and turn out those 40% of people who were Republicans and actually listen to people in Chicago in order to be president. And by the way, imagine if a Democrat wanting to be president had to show up in Texas and campaign there and turn out, make sure that conservative communities heard them, but also turn out black voters in Dallas or Houston for presidential policy. Think about how empowering that would be for so many people in so many states. And I think it would lead to a more responsive presidency.
I would like to see that. That was one of Hillary Clinton's fatal mistakes, is the states that she chose to visit. The states that we favor because they're swing states because of this bullshit electoral college. And so then people do feel disenfranchised. People do feel disillusioned because you're not talking to us anymore because you don't have to. You don't have to come to California. But why? Because a Democrat's going to win California. You don't have to come to Colorado because a Democrat's going to win Colorado. You don't have to go to Texas because a Republican's going to win Texas. Make them work for it again.
Yeah. I mean, I hope that he does throw a good. I really do.
I love Buttigieg. I've always loved Buttigieg. Even in 2020, like Lynette said, I loved him in 2020 too.
See, that is the one thing I do regret in 2020 is that I wish I looked into more during the primaries. I think I just blindly kind of just like voted for one. Just be like,
it was the same thing when I voted. That my first time voting, it's not something I'm really paying attention to.
Yeah, I mean, but it's just one of those things, you always think back on and you're like, I think I also have, Benton Harbor is where my grandmother used to work all the time when I was a kid. So I know Benton Harbor and I know like across the border is, very Western Michigan. And I love that little area. It's just like, I wish I did a little bit more research.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, on that note, now that I went 30 minutes over, guys, I appreciate you for sticking with me. You guys got me to 256,000 likes over here on TikTok. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Yeah, I've been a stan since he was Mayor Pete, too. I love him. All the good ones are gay. No, I'm just kidding. Guys,
you're not wrong.
So I appreciate your guys' support. W to you guys for completing out the gift goal today. W for the likes. I hope I saw a lot more thumbs up on YouTube. Jesus Christ. On YouTube, I would appreciate it if I see that today. That would be great. Happy Pride. Love that. For sometimes it's incidental. Shut up, Blue.
That's wild.
I love you so much. Yeah, you make me laugh.
Should that be did you say you make me gay?
Laugh? No, I'm already gay. That didn't.
I heard maybe. Oh shit! It is past my 12 hours. Fuck. Never mind. Oh.
Oh God, still kicking. God, fuck off. Anyway,
Peter, go find something better to do. Like it's gonna rain here in Tennessee. Make sure you don't break your hip when you walk outside. Like the fuck.
Do we want to raid Lainey or Seth? By the way, I totally missed that we had a Twister raid earlier. I was so busy reading what I was doing, and I apologize if you guys are still here from the Twister raid. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you. Love you, Twista.
I vote Lainey, but I don't know.
So remember, Lainey has conversations and questions, not debating, which we love them for that.
He did say, what is a neutral family? Oh, by the way, if you are in the state of Tennessee and you want to vote against, or correction, sign the petition to not have an AI data center built right by the Nashville Zoo. There are links in my link tree for you to sign. I signed mine this morning. Manny signed his as well this morning. I do not want a data center that close for multiple reasons.
YouTube and Twitch, I appreciate you guys. I will be back Monday for Midterm Monday at 10 a.m. Mountain Time, whatever time that is for you. So YouTube